What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back for another Good Morning Tottenham. So good morning to you all out there. It is FA Cup weekend, people. FA Cup weekend. We're going to get through a match preview, and then we're going to get into some debates, apparently. I think Morecambe might be spelled wrong on the thing. But anyway, We're going to get into a match preview in a second, just when we get the... Oh, there, it's done. So let's get into the match preview. FA Cup against League One Morecambe. They sit 19th in League One, 1 point above the relegation. I remember last time we played a team like this was Wycombe at White Hart Lane. We made a big meal of that one. You know, things like this can happen in the third round of the FA Cup, can't they? We've seen it time and time again over the years, pretty much throughout my lifetime. When you're looking at Morecambe, we're going to welcome back a couple of old faces in Jonathan Obika and Shayon Harrison to the stadium. Obviously, they left when we were still at White Hart Lane, but they will come back and have a taste of the new stadium. It'll be nice to see them back. I mean, I thought those players were going to make it at Spurs when they were coming through the ranks. Yeah, I mean, they are two that were really heavily spoken about. Good morning to you, Ben, and good morning to everyone in the show. Yeah, what I will say is, the third round of the FA Cup is a very, very special day. It's an occasion. It's our next best to Christmas Day. But yeah, it is. I've grown up. I think the FA Cup still has the magic that it used to. Yeah, it's been watered down a bit to me personally. I adore this tournament, and the third round is always a special day. There's always upsets. There's always a few surprises. So it's great that it's come around again. What would it mean to you to win the FA Cup? Absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. This cup, like I said, I was unfortunate enough to see the 87 one. That's the first real FA Cup that I can remember as a kid. But then obviously 91 I remember very, very clearly. And the fact that we haven't been to a final since then is staggering. It's a very, very special cup. It's still got all the romance for me, and I would love nothing more that come what may. We are walking up the stairs and lifting. You know why it's lost a bit of romance for me is because just Arsenal have been so successful in it. Yeah, and I've just realised they don't walk up at Wembley anymore, do they? I think the FA Cup now, or maybe not anymore. I think they may have done, but COVID recently they've been lifting it like Leicester did at the last season. They did it at the bottom, didn't they? So who knows? But yeah, Arsenal unfortunately have been. Very, very successful in it. So when I was growing up, we'd won it more times than Arsenal. Well, it was everyone knew it was the Spurs Cup, and the whole song "Lucky" for Spurs when the year ends in one came up because of it. We're the first team to win it 8 times. We were very, very, and even if we didn't win it, we used to religiously get very, very far into the tournament. And we just haven't recently. Like you said, Arsenal have certainly they're the most. They've got the most wins for it. So we've got to bridge that gap. So we've won it 8 times. I think they've won it about 10 times now, or something like that. Well, I think they've won it a lot more than that. Really? I think something in the last 9 years they've won it 6 times. Wow, or something like that. It's some ridiculous stat. I mean, I think they've won it the same amount of times as us since we last won it in 1991. That is ridiculous. They've won it 14 times. Manchester United have won it 12 times, and us and Chelsea are on 8 times. Yes, and you got to remember we were the first team to get to 8. Yeah, I know that, yeah. And we have just been eclipsed. Massively. Big time. Massively. And yeah, but hopefully, I mean, if you said to me now FA Cup, Carabao Cup or whatever, FA Cup every single time, this cup is so, so very special to me. In terms of the game, I mean, we've got a massive game obviously on Wednesday against Chelsea. How much of a changed team are you expecting for this weekend? I hope wholesale changes. Wholesale. I think you're going to have to put a couple of regulars in there just to give a bit of experience. And when I say that, it could be even someone who's an Ollie Skip, still a youngster who's got a bit of an engine, but with the experience now. But we definitely, it just goes to show, like you said, that Wycombe game, we still played some big hitters there. Son got the winner and everything, and it just goes to show that you can't just say, it's a team that are struggling. To them, this is their Christmases come at once. For the Morecambe fans to go to a stadium like ours, for the Morecambe players to go to a stadium like ours, and also the returning players, like you said. So yeah, there needs to be a couple, and I mean literally a couple first teamers in there. What two? I have no idea. Would you, looking at our striker options, I mean, Kane has to play, doesn't he? You look at it, Son definitely. If it comes to Son and Kane, who needs a rest more? I think Son is crying out for a rest. So you may even see him start, or is it you put Scarlett up top and you have Kane on the bench? Should he be needed? Yeah, I mean, how do you see this game going? Even if we do make wholesale changes, like you say, do you see it going a similar way like the Wycombe game? You know, end-to-end battle, and us maybe just nicking it, or do you see us with a resounding victory if we make wholesale changes?
Do you know what? If we make wholesale changes, the way I'm looking at it right now is, as we've said, for the first 20 minutes of games, we seem to just be all over the shop and don't settle. I think it will be vital that we have to, and we can't, like we said, they're League One. We can't underestimate what happens in this
Struggling
cup.
League One as well.
Yeah, you can't underestimate what actually happens in this cup, and in this cup, shocks happen. So we've got to be on our guard. But this is a game we should comfortably see off.
I'm just going to try get up our past FA Cup third round performances and see how who we've kind of played and see. Because we haven't had any shocks in the FA Cup for a while now, haven't we?
No, not that.
We played Colchester, that was in the League Cup.
I think the last big shock, and I do mean big shock, and it was a decent team we played, was obviously that Man City game when we were 3-0 up at half time and lost 4-3.
I remember that.
That was obviously not because of the team, but the manner of the result was a huge shock. And I'm trying to remember. I can't think any come out to mind like major shocks since then.
Well, I've got it up here.
Let's have a look.
The last time we've lost in the third round was... One second. Last time we lost it in the third round, we played Marine last year. Year before we played Middlesbrough, took them to a replay, 1-2-1. Year before we played Tranmere, won 7-0. I remember that I was there, Llorente and Aurier scoring. Aurier scoring 2 goals that day and Llorente getting a hat-trick. Before that was AFC Wimbledon, 18, 3-0. Aston Villa, 2-0 the year before.
That's when Ben Davies scored a goal.
Yeah, Ben Davies and Heung-min Son. The year before we drew with Leicester and then beat them in the replay. Burnley, the year before, beat them in the replay. Year before that, we lost to Arsenal in the third round.
Oh, that was when Walcott got his injury, isn't it?
It's when Danny Rose slipped on the halfway line, I think.
I think that's when Walcott went off and he did that, didn't he?
Yeah. Year before that, Coventry we beat in the third round. Cheltenham, the year before that. Charlton the year before that. Peterborough the year before that. Wigan the year before that. Reading beat him in a replay. Cardiff beat him in a replay. Wow, we haven't lost in the third round.
Yeah, third round seems like a...
Leicester, the year before that, we lost 3-2. Do you remember that when Stalteri scored that goal?
Oh, that cracker.
Yeah.
Absolute from the edge area, just bullet shot into the top court. Yeah, I do remember that.
Brighton, we beat the year before that. Palace the year before that. Coventry the year before that. Leyton Orient. But I think that Leicester game, they were a championship side then, weren't they?
They may well be.
I think they were. I think we lost them when they were a championship side.
But yeah, so it looks like the third round is a favourable round for us either way.
Yeah, I can't see many shocks in the third round. I mean, in '99, we drew with Newcastle 1-1, then we lost 6-1 in the replay.
What is it with Newcastle and big victories?
With Ginola scoring.
Oh shit! There you go.
But nah, we haven't had an upset in the third round. It looks like in my lifetime, really.
Yeah.
In my lifetime. So. Look, in terms of the third round, this should be a piece of cake, shouldn't it?
It should be. Listen, and again, it should be. And I don't see anything but a Spurs win, but this FA Cup and this third round is always the banana peel. And I just pray that we don't lose. I can't see it. Listen, we should not be losing this game by any stretch of the imagination, even if we play 11 of the 25 that we have. I think we'll see Dele Alli. I think we will see Dele. But let's see what performance he puts in. But yeah, it should be an easy win. But it all depends if they do the low block. And if they do the low block, we don't know how to break it down.
We don't know how to break it down, but we'll get a goal from somewhere.
Yeah.
Look, I think. What prediction are you going for?
Oh, you know what I'm going for Bob.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1. And no caveat to that.
No, I'm going to stick with Bob Spur all the way. No Brian prediction.
So Bob is going for 4-1 alongside Brian, and I'm going to go for 3-0. 3-0 Spurs. I think the way Conte is going to set us up, surely it will leave no room for error. The only ways the errors come if individual displays let us down. But against this struggling side in League One, look, they're going to be up for it.
Yep.
It's the game of their lives, let's be honest. They're going to be up for it. And the magic of the FA Cup and all that. But I just can't see a Conte side losing to a struggling League One side.
Like I said, I cannot see us losing. But what I want to ask you is, you've gone 3-0. I don't think Galini's kept a clean sheet, has he? And I think, I don't know what people think in the chat. I think Galini is definitely starting this game without a doubt. So it's whether he keeps a clean sheet. But yeah, like I said, convincing win, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had an appearance under Conte, has he?
Is it Mura?
Oh, Mura, he played. That's fair enough. So we'll have to see what happens then. It's a good point you make there, that Galini hasn't made a clean sheet, and obviously he's stepped in for that Mura game. But I think Conte has got more to grips with the squad since that Mura game. Obviously, it was like his second game, wasn't it?
Yep.
After that first league game, or his third game, or something like that.
Very early.
So he hadn't really got to grips with the squad yet. I still think he hasn't really got to grips with the squad yet, but he's more involved. He knows more what he wants now and what he needs to see from these players.
Correct.
As opposed to then in the Mura game. And I don't think that happens again.
Again, we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, it should be a very, very, very convincing, very, very convincing.
I wonder who's higher level, Mura or Morecambe.
That's actually a good point. That's a good point. You got there. All right, their league isn't as hard as the League One and the Championship, or wherever they go. League Two, which looks like they may go into. But Mura got into a European competition and they beat the mighty Tottenham.
Yeah.
So that's a good question.
But look, we'll have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. It's 2 o'clock kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Me and Brian will be doing the watch along right here in the studio. And maybe you'll have an appearance from Sim as well, but we'll see what happens with that one. But look, the scorelines are Brian and Bob going for 4-1.
Correct.
I'm going for 3-0. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. And that is our match preview. Yes, I know, not much to preview because we don't know much about Morecambe. It's very hard to preview these third round games because you hardly know who's going to play for Tottenham.
Yep.
You don't know much about the opposition. And yeah, it's just very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, normally when we've also, what I said to you earlier is normally when we do the predicted lineups, and anyone that's been here on Good Morning Tottenham or whatever and does the predicted lineups with you, normally you can kind of get an idea of what's going to happen. But you and me have had to predict Conte's first game, which was like, what the hell do we do? And then now this with the FA Cup. And this is going to take a lot of time, I think, to put together.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, the predicted lineup will be with you a bit later. Well, it'll actually be with you tomorrow, but it will be recorded today. But let's have a chat. I know you're desperate to talk about the transfer window. Coutinho has joined Aston Villa this morning on loan for the rest of the season. Kieran Trippier has joined Newcastle as of, I think, yesterday it got confirmed, or today it got confirmed.
It was this morning.
This morning. Yeah, we saw him holding up the...
It may have been signed last night, but it was officially announced this morning.
So having said that, these two players have joined. Yes, we're in desperate need of a creative player. Yes, we are in desperate need of a right back as well. These are probably the two positions you're going to look to bring in January, if not centre back as well. In terms of Coutinho, I said at the beginning I wouldn't want him. I was saying yesterday that, yeah, I would take him through the door if he's the only one that would come through the door. But what's your feelings on it all?
Okay, so I'm going to let rip now because I've been holding this in and waiting, and literally I woke up this morning to a very good supporter of all channels, a guy called Danny, not the bun, who sent me a tweet saying the Fabrizio Romano, here we go with Villa. And then shortly it was announced, but obviously once Trippier was announced, I have hit the goddamn roof. And the reason I've hit the goddamn roof is very, very simple. I have had to sit here and on my channel and on social media and everything else and listen to people say, put it this way, you cannot get players out of Champions League winning teams or Champions League playing teams, La Liga winning teams, or teams that are going for a title to move clubs or to come to us. You can't do it. Why would they want to leave? But all of a sudden, a player, and I know we don't want the player, I'm just talking about the nonsense that you can't get a player out and the people that have been saying this. How does Newcastle get a team from a Kieran Trippier, an England international, a La Liga winner, a Champions League playing and league going for player out of the club? Now people go, oh yeah, but he's homesick, fair play, he's homesick. Then they go, oh, but Newcastle have got the money, you've got the money, Newcastle can do this. Well, do you know what? It's amazing. When you pay it, it's amazing. If you pay an employee to come to you and you offer him what he or you can arrange something, he will go. And not just that Kieran Trippier will now have to sign, as all players do, in their contract, if they go down to the Championship, you're having a substantial wage cut. Now, I know he can caveat that with, I'll have a release fee in there, but I'm sick and tired of people saying things can't happen in January, people won't leave bigger clubs to come to Tottenham.
Why would he need to take a wage cut if they get relegated?
Because of the finances. I mean, Newcastle obviously have got the bigger money, but when teams go down, they always have it that obviously we're not earning Premier League money and the income. You have a wage cut.
Newcastle we're talking about.
Yeah, Newcastle may be able to get around. Newcastle may be able to get around that.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay, so, but he'll have a release fee. But forget. I am sick of hearing people saying that you cannot get people out of Champions League competing teams or league winning or league pushing teams to go to a Tottenham.
Look. It's 7 days in to the transfer window. There's no need to go nuclear right now. But in terms of what people say that you can't bring players into a Champions League side, first of all, I think that's false. I don't think that's correct. Second of all, the players that they're talking about are much higher level players than Kieran Trippier, right? Kieran Trippier is at the twilight of his career now. He's 31 years old or 31 years old. He's a right wing back. He's a right back. Tell me what... Would you want him at Spurs?
Yes, right now.
Why would you want him at Spurs? We want to set our sights much higher than Kieran Trippier.
Can we have? Don't get me wrong. Of course, we want to set our sights higher, but we have been saying, you've been there as well, and most Spurs fans saying, Emerson cannot cross a football.
Correct.
He cannot cross a football. Mm-hmm. What does Trippier do?
He crosses a football.
Bingo.
Yeah, fine. But it doesn't mean that we want Trippier through the door just because he can cross a football. Yeah, but
like I said, I've
had Trippier and we wanted to sell him.
I'm not speaking to all Spurs fans. I'm not speaking to people saying I wanted Kieran Trippier. I never said it here. I know people that did. I am one that wanted Philip Coutinho. You're damn right I did. And I was very vocal about that. But like I said, I am saying to people, and it's people know who they are, and I don't know a lot of them, but they're in the chat, they're on social media saying that they don't say you can't get a person. They don't put a caveat like a high-class player. Players don't come in January. You can't get players out of the league or Championship winning teams. You can't get players out of Champions League winning teams. You can't do it. You can't do it. Why are they going to come to Tottenham when we're not in Europe? We don't know if we'll be in the Europa League. Don't know if we'll be in the Conference League. But then all of a sudden, it's okay for one to go to a relegation struggling or relegation fighting team. It's always something different. I am very clear with my message. Always. But the amount of caveats that when something happens and leave you in or leave you on the fence, oh yeah, but this. Oh yeah, but that. Oh no, but this. Oh no, this may happen. Or enough. I've tried to stay calm with this recently. I really have. And I know what we've said behind the scene. And I know what people are saying it's only 7 days in. People are making moves. We desperately need players. Conte is saying stuff in press conferences, and we are here.
First of all, nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes. You're having reports online from Sky Sports saying Spurs are going to do business this January. You've got reports from DiMarzio saying in the summer Spurs are going to go really, really big. Yes, I'm not saying I believe all that. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to happen because we all know we've been stung before with this ownership before, many a time, transfer window after transfer window, right? That is completely spot on. But we've just brought in Paratici at the beginning of the season. We've just brought in Conte at the beginning of the season. Those are two massive steps in the right direction. It's only 7 days into the transfer window. We all need to calm down a little bit.
So my. A lot of what you say I agree with. But there's other things you've got to remember. We have people saying Conte doesn't come unless there's assurances. Conte doesn't come unless there's money.
Yeah.
We were told when we even watched the video on his announcements that money is available in January. We didn't say an amount. He said that there will be substantial funds available for transfers. Didn't say January, but he said for January there will be transfers. And we all know summer was going to be the big summer. So I'm with you on that. I believe summer is where we go, or at least attempt to go. But we desperately need players. We got told there was money available in January. Then just before January, oh yeah, but no, it's not as much as we thought. Then it's just another string of lies coming out of Pinocchio FC.
It's all hearsay, though. It's all hearsay. It's all rumours from online. Nothing is concrete information that we're hearing. It's all hearsay.
What is concrete is what we were told about Conte having funds.
Okay, but
we were also told. when, and I've said this on here with you, Paratici's here to be the middleman and speak to be the go-between. Yep. Like you said, this could all just be media. The meetings need to happen between Conte and Levy. Well, no, they don't. No, they do not, because that's what Paratici was brought in for.
But all this stuff is not solid information. It's not solid information. I don't believe for a second that Conte hasn't met with the club in terms of what targets he wants to bring in, what targets he wants to take out. I don't believe that for a second. You're seeing reports. Yeah, fine. What I'm about to say is hearsay as well. But you're seeing reports about Spurs being linked to this one, Spurs being linked to that one. You're seeing reports saying Spurs are going to spend money this January. It's 7 days in. We can't get on the backs of what's happening right now because we've brought in Conte, we've brought in Paratici. Let's just have a bit of patience. Yes, I know we've had 20 years of patience. That's not the point now. The point is, for the first time in the tenure, we've brought in the best manager or one of the best managers in the world. So we have to stick by his side. I stick
by his side.
Yeah, I am by his side. The negativity surrounding everything is only going to hurt us. It's not going to help us.
So, listen, I get that part. I get that part. But like I said, we just go round and round in circles all over again.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, it could give the illusion that we are going to go round in circles again. I get that. But we cannot start protesting, complaining. We can't start doing this stuff until everything is said and done. Once everything's said and done and what is done, then we know what's been done.
Okay, so also what I would say to that, if you know you got Arsenal, Chelsea 3 times, and now Leicester, which is pivotal. These games were always there, barring Leicester. You know you have huge games coming in that are really season-defining. Wouldn't you want to be able to put your best team or whatever forward and have players to help the team get over these?
Of course. But this isn't a quick thing. This isn't a quick thing where we're going to get players in and suddenly start competing with Chelsea, going to go good Stamford Bridge and win. I'm
not saying we would. I'm saying to qualify for Champions League or to get.
Look, it's very, very difficult. How are we going to start? We're not going to qualify for the Champions League this year. We're just not going to. We're not good enough.
I've been saying that. But people are saying that this is what's going to happen. What happens? Like I said, I know I get ridiculed sometimes for what I say, and I'm very. I saw a super chat in there saying about you don't need the real me because you can just repeat what I said. Find a part where I'm wrong. Find a part where Levy hasn't done what I've said. Find a part where you can say, do you know what? Because I will be the first person to stand up, as you know, and say, do you know what? I've got that wrong. Like you and me when we had our debates over the sun with Harry Kane. Like when you and me completely had to say sorry for what we said about Højbjerg yesterday. I will admit when I'm wrong. But I'm just getting fed up of just hearing people saying, oh, we've sit.
You're not right and you're not wrong. There's no right or wrong here because nothing's happened. It's 7 days in. It's too early to talk about this.
We will see. I'm just now saying, here we go. I'll do the rest. That's all I'm saying. It's like, we'll see what people think.
Conte has said it himself, it's a big, big job on his hands. 1 or 2 signings is not going to catapult us into the Champions League. We need a rebuild. We need a new right back. We need new centre backs. We need new strikers. We need a creative midfielder. We need a right winger. We need a lot of people to come through the door. We need a lot of people to go out the door. This is a long-term project. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen within 7 days of the transfer window. We're not, you know what I mean? We have to have a bit of patience now. We've got the best manager in the world. We've got the best sporting director in the world. Yes, we've still got Daniel Levy at the club, but he has brought in these people. And I'm not saying I'm Levy in. I'm still Levy out. Don't get me wrong. But we need patience. We need patience.
Like I said, people are right to say be patient, and they have their right to say be patient. And I don't take that away from anyone whatsoever. I just go on the rule of thumb that I've heard this over. I won't even go 20 years. I'll go literally. Let's go from Harry Redknapp. From Harry Redknapp onwards, I've heard this nonsense. And like I said, I am, when it comes to the levels of Levy, I'm extreme. I'm an extremist. I am so far gone that there is no coming back for me. And you'll never get me to change what I said. And it's like, I have heard this and I won't, the proof is in the pudding. And once again, nothing's happening. And whilst...
But it's not, how do you know nothing's happening? It's 7 days in.
Well, no, what I'm saying is look at other teams that are now starting to flex their muscles. Other teams that need to get shopping done are getting their targets in.
Everyone needs shopping done. Man United haven't done anything. Arsenal haven't done anything. All these teams that we're fighting against for the supposed top 4 haven't done anything yet. So why do we need to panic?
Because of the state of our club.
The state of their club is
I don't care.
well.
But I don't care about their club.
But it's 7 days in.
And I'll tell you what.
7 days in.
When you mention Manchester United, start this Super League. Fans protest how they do. They bitch and moan about the Glazers. But I'll tell you what. Let's have a Sancho. Let's have a Ronaldo. Let's have a Varane. Arsenal. Bitch and moan about the Super League. Get annoyed. Let's have a complete rebuild of our squad in the summer and be the highest spending team in Europe. Whether they have overpaid, and we were laughing at Ramsdale. Look at Ramsdale. They got their stuff done, and now they're playing good football. So when it comes to these teams, they've addressed the issue. Whenever the issue, when the protest for Super League and things need to be done, they have addressed issues. The Glazers are the prime ones. Okay, you bitch, you moan, but what we're going to give you, because you can't say that we don't invest in the team, and wisely, we'll give you the greatest player in the world, a superb centre-back, and Sancho, who was obviously medical.
How's that help them?
I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily, but what I'm saying is they address an issue. If you look at it, those players that came in should be catapulting Manchester United to where they were. Obviously, Ollie wasn't the right man. Now they've got Ragniak and they don't know who it is. But they addressed the issue. We just sit here again and again and again to have the same nonsense.
Yep, and it has been like that. But because Conte and Paratici are in, it's different. It's different. We have to be patient through the Conte era. If the way it goes, it goes. Like if the way it goes every other time with all the other managers, with the Pochettinos, with the Mourinhos, with the Harry Redknapps, like you say, like it's gone every other time with the Martignols. If it goes like that, then fine. We go nuclear. We go nuclear on Levy. We absolutely try and hound him out the club. That is completely fair enough. But because we've brought these guys in, we have to have the patience. We just have to.
But also,
we've got one of the best managers in the world right now.
But what you got to look at is, as like I said, the Levy out people that I stand proud with, very, very proudly with. We've said we're not going to do anything. That may change near the end of the transfer window. I'll let you know now, especially with me. If we're like this come January, though, right near the close, and especially deadline day. But then you look at it, and it's going to be too late. If we do nothing, like we've said we'll do, because people are like, oh, what you protesting about, what you haven't given him time. If we start doing this in February, there is absolutely nothing that could be done with it. Nothing. It's another 4 months till the season ends, or three, whatever you want to call it, where we can't do nothing. We have to put up with the performances like Chelsea or like United or like whatever, because they will come.
I guarantee you, signing a Coutinho or these players that are going, or a 31-year-old Kieran Trippier is not going to make us win at Stamford Bridge.
But Coutinho would at least give creativity. We're saying that Son and Kane are being starved of stuff, and Son's not looking good. He needs a rest, but Kane's not getting the chances. One thing I will guarantee you Coutinho would do is at least create chances. Whether they get taken is down to obviously the strikers, but I guarantee you, we sat there for Chelsea and bemoaned the lack of creativity and the lack of that killer pass and the lack of that set piece. Coutinho does all that.
So why does nobody want Coutinho? Why is he going to Aston Villa?
Because of that link with Steven Gerrard. But
why did no one better want him?
But Ben, you see, you can't say that and then say, like David Harris said with Adama Traore, no one wants him.
Yeah. So why is that a valid point, but the one with Coutinho is not a valid point?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what we're both saying. If people are saying, yeah, get Adama in, no one else wants him. I agree.
Yeah,
listen,
but Conte wants him. Conte wants him.
Conte
And Paratici want him. Conte didn't want Coutinho, because if Conte wanted Coutinho, we'd probably have him right now.
Well, that is always to be open for debate. But with Adama,
we always say trust in Conte. If Conte wants him, we want him.
Let me get this straight. I back Conte 1 billion%. 1 billion%. I don't want Adama. Like I said, if he wants him, I want him. But I back him 1 billion%. Above him, minus a billion%.
Yeah,
and
I agree. I completely.
Do you know what? I want to put this. I want to put this to poll to see whose side people.
You want me to put a poll out?
Yeah.
Okay.
To see, I hope I don't get absolutely battered.
What's the question? I'm
just in this agreement. Whose side are you on, Brian or Ben's?
Okay, I did Brian Ben and undecided.
Let's have a look how this goes. There's 632 in the...
But it's ridiculous, though, because we have to... I keep saying it. I keep stressing it. Us as a fan base, we have to have patience with what's going on right now. Because after years of neglect from Daniel Levy, he's finally done a decision which we can all get behind, right? In doing Antonio Conte. Even the staunchest of Levy outs can accept that.
Yep.
Correct, right? He rejected us in the summer because of our ambitions, and then he joined us a few months later. Why? Why did he join us?
Probably because of assurances he was given.
Okay, so why can't we just wait for these assurances to come through? And if they don't come through, then we can start bitching and moaning and complaining.
Yeah, but like I said, then it's too late.
It's too late? What do you mean it's too late? Do you really think anything's going to happen from us going mad now?
Who knows? Who knows? Look what happened when we started Levy out in the stadium. Look what happened. Not saying that was the underlying factor that happened. I'm telling you now, it certainly had an impact. It certainly had a goddamn... I'm not saying, because of us that this happened, we have Conte. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it certainly had a goddamn impact.
It did have an impact, you're right. But the point is that 7 days into a transfer window, it's not the time to be moaning, complaining and protesting and all this stuff. We need to see... This is literally the first 7 days of Conte's first transfer window. He said that in the beginning of December, he needed an extra month to look at the squad and seeing what he needs and what he needs to get in and what he needs to get out. Like, it's all too soon. Stuff is not going to happen in the first 7 days. You need to give it time.
But things could happen in the first 7 days and should have happened in the first 7 days.
What things could have happened in the first 7 days?
Transfers.
What transfers?
Well, like you said, we don't have all the inside information. Yeah. But you're not telling me that Conte hasn't got a list of players that he wants. I'm not saying just because he's on the list we get them. No approach, no nothing, and we know for a fact. The only transfer that happened last summer with Danny Ings to Aston Villa, absolutely no one, and I mean no one, knew that was happening. No one knew it was happening.
Which one, sorry?
Danny Ings to Villa. That just popped like that. But any other transfer, you know how quick this goes round. And I don't think we've had a transfer like that in God knows how long. Probably Rafa van der Vaart, where that just came out of thin air.
What about Højbjerg?
Højbjerg was known. Højbjerg was known from...
Come on, Højbjerg...
Højbjerg had been known for months that we
Højbjerg, it wasn't like that. We were linked with him for months, but there was nothing concrete, and then it came out of nowhere that we're signing him tomorrow.
Gareth Bale and Doherty. Actually, I'll go back on what I said, because under Mourinho, Doherty came out of absolutely thin air.
We were looking back at that stream, right? When you first came on and Højbjerg signed in that transfer window stream.
Yep.
And me and Simeon were both saying in that stream, like, wow, it's unbelievable that finally we get these deals done in like 1 or 2 days and it's getting so quick. I mean, whatever you want to say about previous transfer windows, in my opinion, it's irrelevant right now. We need to concentrate on the now and the future. If this doesn't happen under Conte and Conte walks or the transfers don't get done, then that is when Levy has nowhere to go. Levy will have nowhere to go then. Absolutely, 100%. But right now, we need to trust in what they're doing. We just have to.
Like I said, I trust him. I trust him. And I trust he knows who he wants. And I trust him with the squad we've got and everything that goes along with Conte. I 1,000,000,000% stand by him. Like I said, it's just when it has to go anywhere further north of him that the confidence levels and the trust are the exact opposite.
Look, I get your point. Because we have been stung a lot of times. I mean, year on for the past 20 years, more or less. That's completely true. I've been very vocal since the Super League on my thoughts on Levy and ENIC and stuff like that. But I just don't think it's the right time for it right now. I genuinely feel so strongly about it. It is not the right time for it right now. We need to have positivity around the club right now. We can't have negativity. Negativity is only going to make us go on a downward spiral. Positivity around this club is the thing that we need. We see what happens when we're in the stadium and the fans are in full voice against Liverpool, how well we played. We can see all the positivity around the club. If it gets negative inside that stadium against Chelsea, against Arsenal, you know which way it's going to go. It's going to go in a defeat. We need to galvanise around the club. We need to believe that this is going to happen under Conte. We need to genuinely believe that it's going to happen under Conte. Otherwise, I don't know which way this club is going to go. And look, at the end of the day, yes, it might not happen under Conte, and Levy might be up to his old dirty tricks. And if that happens, then we go full on nuclear. But 7 days into the transfer window is not the time to do it.
So, like I said, and I need to get this point clear. Levy out, but guys, aren't planning to do anything right now. I am just voicing my concerns, my frustrations, my anger at a place where everyone knows where it goes, and just because, why should we, like I said, the point I'm getting at is why should we be, it's only the first week. Spurs should be doing stuff in the first week. Just because it's a 4-week window doesn't mean I'll wait to the 4 weeks and let's try and do a Levy end of transfer deadline day special where he just tries everything and then we end up with hardly anything. There are no imminent plans right now for any kind of mass protest or anything, but this is just me getting my anger, frustration, and just my point of view that this is just unacceptable once again from
What's unacceptable once again?
just the way we're operating.
How are we operating? Nothing's happened.
Exactly.
But it's 7 days.
But that's what I'm saying. Why should it be as Spurs fans that we say, do you know what? Let's wait till day 14, and then let's see what happens. If we want big club mentality, and we want remember,
you mean big club like Aston Villa and Newcastle.
No. Remember, they're trying to improve their squads to get them to the next level. Mm-hmm. We're stagnating. We are, like I said, we may not get Champions League. I don't think we will. I certainly don't want the Conference League again. But we want Europa League, and we want a substantial run in the FA Cup, because it looks like, obviously, the Carabao Cup is up in the air. We're not going to do it without reinforcements. Mm-hmm. But why should we have to wait for reinforcements?
Because we need to get the right people in.
So make it happen. If we've got player A who's there, and the club have said, okay, he's available, and this is all behind the scenes, and this is just hearsay. This player's available at that amount, and you can have him, or you can talk to him and go from there. Then if it's going to improve the club, and it's a Conte target, go do it. Go do it and get him in, so he might be available for a Chelsea second leg, an Arsenal, a Chelsea in the league. Because I'd rather a bit of strength and a bit of new blood in the squad for these games, rather than having to wait till the end of January. Then they've got to get match fit. Then they've got to sync with when they can do it now.
Well, they're still going to need to get match fit and all that kind of stuff.
Match fit may be a difference. Syncing with the squad.
So if we sign them now, they can't play in the Chelsea semi-final if they need to get match fit.
Well, but take away match fit.
They can't play in the Arsenal game.
Take away match fit. Take away match fit. If they're playing regularly for their clubs right now and have been training, they're fit. Integrated into the squad, whether they don't speak English or whatever, but look at Romero. New blood can certainly rejuvenate this squad. And we're talking about a Son who is exhausted and needs a rest. Can't do it because there's no player. We're looking at Kane, who needs a rest. Can't do it. There's no player. We're looking at Højbjerg, needs a rest. Can't do it. No player. Dyer goes out, and we saw what happened. And I'm not saying we're getting all these players, but surely there is somewhere, somehow, some new blood can come into this squad and assist Conte get to where he wants. So we don't have to see a pissed off Conte in these press conferences saying, oh, these players have not done well, that this is not a good performance. I don't want to hear this anymore.
We're not going to solve our problems in January. You know that. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
we're not going to solve our problems in January. Nobody ever solves their problems in January.
But why can't there be a first?
There can be a first, but this is not going to be it, because it's very hard to find top-level players to leave their club mid-season.
We'll see.
What top player is going to leave their club mid-season unless they're really unhappy at their club? Coutinho wasn't getting any minutes. Trippier wanted to come back to England.
But this is the thing. Like we say, the Conte pool, okay? Yes, we can't promise you, guarantee what level of European football will be. Let's face it, Tottenham will get European football this year. Whether it's Champions League, I doubt. Europa League is what we're hoping for. And at worst, going back into this Conference League. Tottenham, if we don't get European football, it's a disgrace of a season. Let's be real, even if it was the Conference League. But if you're going to entice a player, and we talk about the Conte factor, you talk about the new stadium factor, training ground, yada, yada, yada. There's no way we can't entice players. As Tottenham goddamn Hotspur, and I speak that as a die-hard Tottenham Hotspur fan, and I think everyone, whether you're my age 42, older or younger, know what this club stands for and what this club means in world football and is in history. We are a big fish. We may not be in the big boy pool right now in the Champions League, but we are a huge fish in the world of football, and we need to start acting like it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. And look, like I said, I've been very vocal about Daniel Levy over the past year, since the Super League, or even longer than that maybe. But I just don't think it's the time for all this now. I think we have to be patient. There's nothing I want more. There's nothing I want more than Levy to dip into the pockets and sign Vlahovic, sign this one, sign that one. But we need to temper our expectations. We need to be realistic. We need to be realistic. And don't start going on about Vlahovic signing for Arsenal.
I'm not mentioning that.
That ain't happening.
I'm not mentioning that. But the one thing I will say about that, if that happens, which it ain't, but if it does, I will be apoplectic
and I'll join you
and going to levels beyond you've ever even imagined.
And I'll join you, and I'll completely join you. But I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to be going mad at Tottenham for not signing players just because Aston Villa signed Coutinho and Newcastle signed Kieran Trippier.
How's the poll doing anyway?
You're losing.
By how much?
You're on 31%, I'm on 51%, and undecided on 19%.
Okay, so I'm going to take the undecided as part of mine just to make it a bit more juicier.
I don't think it is, though.
Listen, like I said,
undecided is those fence sitters.
I need to get across. Like I said, this is my opinion that I'm standing by or voicing, not anyone else's. And it comes from a place where I'm just sick and tired of this. I'm just sick and tired. That's all there is. Obviously, we got more time, and like I said, I completely back Conte. But I've used it. It's not my first rodeo with this buffoon at the top.
Yeah, and it's all of us. All of us are in the same boat. All of us have seen this show before. But because Conte's here, because he rejected us in the summer, because he came eventually, because Paratici's here as well, we have to believe something's going to happen. We have to believe something's going to happen, and we have to wait. We have to at least give them the chance. 7 days is not a chance. We have to give them the chance to prove us wrong.
We shall see.
To prove you wrong.
Mate, do you know what? February the 1st, if I'm still here, which it may well be, I'll come on.
Yeah, but let's say February the 1st comes. What is the minimum amount of signings through the door to make you not think like that?
To make me not think like that?
To think like, oh, okay, maybe we are going in the right direction here.
Well, definitely 1 or 2 pre-contracts done. One will be acceptable, but if it's a player of a calibre or a level that we can all see will benefit the squad, not like some random nobody and one big player in. When I say big, I don't mean big as in let's go smash a Vlahovic. It could be someone on like a Kessie we pay the money for 8.5 in advance. Someone that you can see will immediately come in and add something to the squad.
So you're saying one signing and a couple of pre-contracts?
Yeah.
It's only 7 days in and that's all you're asking for.
Well, mate, what I'd really want is obviously, but,
that's going to come in the summer. That's going to come in the summer.
Again, that we shall see. But don't get me wrong. I am completely with you thinking that the summer is the big one. No doubt the summer is the biggest window we will probably have since windows have begun.
Yeah.
And with the manager we have in place. And you've got to remember as well, I don't know how this window is really going to work if the World Cup, I don't know how that works. So we have to accommodate for that. So we will see. But that is, I guarantee, obviously, and I'm completely with you, is the biggest window. But there's got to be something done in this window.
See, it's funny because what you're saying this morning and what I'm saying this morning is completely different, right? I'm kind of saying give us patience. Yes, blah blah blah. We need signings, but give us patience. 7 days in, you're going a bit in on the club and all that kind of stuff. But when you say what you want, is actually less than what I want. I want more than what you want.
Well, no, because
I want 2 signings minimum. Yeah, at least.
But I'm saying this with my what is the club potentially and what can I see?
No,
the
I'm
club
saying
do?
what. Okay,
if you know, I'm saying I'm talking realistically. What do I think we'll bring in? Not what I want. I'm saying what I think we'll realistically bring in. I just want to respond to a couple of comments that will have said. I think that transfers are like buying apples or like FIFA. I don't at all. I understand exactly what goes through with transfers. I've got no qualms of how complicated they can be, but we're a multi-billion-pound sports club that deal with transfers all the time, and we need players. We need players.
We deal with them from time to time. I don't know about all the time.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's get from a few super chats. Vasif Mamedov says Tottenham is the team that have shown the most ambition lately when signing Conte and Paratici. Levy wouldn't do that unless he would back them. Look, we've had big managers come through the door in the past that haven't been backed. Pochettino earned the right to be backed, that he wasn't backed. And the only time he was backed was the summer before he got sacked. That's the only time he was backed. Mourinho, Mourinho needed more backing than he got. But we actually were... That last summer of Pochettino, we actually spent the most, didn't we, in the Premier League. Under Mourinho... It was nothing short of a disgrace, that transfer window, to be honest, in hindsight. But at the time, we all thought it was brilliant.
At the time, exactly. We got in Højbjerg, which solved that defensive midfielder. We bought in Reguilon, which sorted out the left back. At the time, we thought Doherty was a good deal because of the stats he had. Gareth Bale, we all rejoiced in the romance in that. But the one that we really, really needed and the one that got away was Skriniar. Skriniar. And obviously we couldn't do that, so we paid 14 million for Rodon, and we all know how that's worked out.
Look, there's no two ways about it. He's a parasite. There's no two ways about it. I'm not gonna.
I know you don't, Ben. As you know, you and me talk.
Everyone needs to make it clear, right, where the problems lie at this club, and we all know where they lie. But seeing as he has pushed a boat out to bring a Conte and a Paratici in, I think that's the only reason why we need to have the patience here.
Like I said, and I stand by, Ben, the work you have done since the Super League in regards to Nick out, the extent of your conviction and everything you've done has been absolutely so incredible. And the whole of this channel, with most importantly allowing me when I've come on, and I know how bad, I mean, I've been on the channel from get-go speaking like this, and it's just kind of elevated more and more the worse it's got. You are the only fan channel, apart from us smaller channels, that let the fans come on and have their real say, whether it be not what everyone wants to hear, whether it's against your ideas, whether it's against what you think. So the work you do, and I stand by what you, and always you've been leaving out since that moment. So again, you and me basically sing from the same hymn sheet in everything, except when it comes to this part where my extremist part of me comes out. That's all it is.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Another super chat from Goguma says, a big up Brian and Ben with a lot of blue hearts. Love that. We've got quite a few to get through, so let me just try and sift through them. Jonathan Dunn says, bad point, Brian. Compares us to a club we finished above for 4 straight years and the richest team in football. Ben is right.
Okay. Like I said, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm right. I just, everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Correct. Tom Hillier says, hope you're well, lads. I think it's Jan window, not the summer. We've already brought flops, so no rush. I don't blame them. Get Conte's players, end of. And I think that's spot on, to be honest. I think that's absolutely spot on. Brains McLeod, here we go. And he says, I think when we are 10th and S and K are injured, Son and Kane are injured, a lot more would agree with Brian. Not a rebuild needed, just depth for rotation. 3 players can equal top 4. Vasif Mamedov again says, January window is not as good window as the summer. Harder to do smart business in January. We need patience because we don't have infinite money to spend. Sean Hibbert says, lads, we know what will happen. We'll give it time. Best thing that could happen, Delhi to Newcastle on deadline day with Kessie coming in. And I think that is... Oh, here we go. Another one here. Will Maddow saying, why are we keep blaming Levy when they took a big hit to appoint Conte for us? This guy is just being contrarian for the sake of it.
I think that's aimed at me. But yeah, if you haven't seen me on any channel, I have been like this since the day... The reason I'm so extreme, I've been like this since the day Martin Jol was sacked. The day Martin Jol was sacked. So everyone else has their moment where the straw that broke the camel's back, where this was enough, this was enough, this was enough. And everyone, like I said again, is totally entitled to their opinion, whether it's Levy in, Levy out. But like I said, I have been going on like this since Conte out. Conte out? What am I saying? Since Martin Jol was sacked. And obviously, it goes a lot deeper with me because I've seen all the things that have built up over that was 2007. So 14 coming on 15 years, like at the end of this year. So where I am on it, it's I look at it as with all these mistakes, there's one common denominator every single time.
You're spot on, yeah,
and that's why I am so far gone with how I am with this particular subject, because it's been 14 years of lies, hurt, deceit, and that's where I stand.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right there. Danny Kiriakou with the super chat saying Ali Gold last night said Conte still had not had that meeting with Paratici, Levy and Hitchin. Should that meeting have happened before the window opened? Yes, it should have happened before the window opened, but Conte clearly stated at the beginning of December he needed an extra month, and he asked for an extra month to evaluate the squad. That's what he said from the horse's mouth. So I don't understand what all this is about.
The part that I'm agreeing with Mr. Danny Kiriakou is, like I said yesterday, he asked for an extra month to evaluate, yeah? But he still would have said, right, these are the people that I want, that are in my train of thought right now, and this is who I might want. But give me the month because I want to give these players a chance. And then let's just say Harry Winks. Let's just say there was a replacement for Winks. Harry Winks has earned his under Conte. He's earned his second or his get out of jail free card. So you go, right, the Conte, the Winks target that I wanted, let's put that on the back burner and revisit at summer. You take him off the list, and so forth and so forth. With this month that he evaluated, he would have had a group of players that he would have wanted, and then as he's realised the ones that he doesn't want or doesn't need because he reckons that the player he has could do a job, you cross them off. I would hope that's like some kind of, not exactly that, like he's got a notepad, but it'll be on a document or whatever. And then at least he knows the viable targets, right? He's crossed out this one, he's crossed out that one. These people are on his radar. These are people he obviously has some interest in and wants to pursue. Let's go and do that.
Yeah, but that's a pure assumption. That's no cold hard facts there. We don't know that's the case.
You surely, I mean, and I'm not just talking of football, business owners worldwide, when they have projections or they have things they want to achieve, they have a plan. So when the opportunity comes...
Conte came in, when was it? Late October? He came
I was still here. So his first game was November the 4th.
So he came in early November. You can't expect him to evaluate the whole squad within a month's time, seeing who he wants in, who he wants out, scout players from around Europe, evaluate the whole squad on top of that, and know exactly who he wants out in the space of 4 weeks.
No, like I said to you, he would have had a list.
I don't think so. I think he needs to evaluate the squad and then know what positions he needs and then start accumulating that list. Even what I'm saying is an assumption, right?
Yep.
But we can't assume right now when he asked for an extra month to evaluate the squad. We can't start saying on the 7th of January, which is 7 days after he's supposedly finished evaluating the squad. We don't even know if he has finished evaluating the squad. We don't know what all these situations are. We can't just start assuming and then digging into Levy because of these assumptions. Again, they're all assumptions.
That again, I say again, yes, it is an assumption from me, but I would hope that's kind of the platform or method. I mean, Conte is an established world-class manager. We apparently have a world-class businessman.
Yeah.
So you'd think that both of them would be a match made in heaven, so they could both do the work, and the proof will be in the pudding.
The proof will be in the pudding, but the pudding has not been put in the oven to cook yet.
I think it's been put in the oven. It's just how long, if it's going to be undercooked or overcooked, or.
We shall see. We shall see how it comes out. The pudding.
It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
But what I'm saying is, we can't start protesting and start going in.
I have to start.
I know what you're saying. There is no protest. There is no protest right now. But we were hearing that maybe it might happen before the end of the transfer window, and we can't start digging in. Let's say, forget the protest. Protest aside, forget the protest right now. We can't start digging into the board and start bringing all this negativity around the club again until the pudding comes out and we see how cooked it is.
I love it. I don't know how we came up with this, and we've ended up with.
Though.
But there we go. So yeah, we'll see.
And Shem Tan with the super chat saying, as usual, everyone buys, loans players, and we consider might get this player regardless of coach with Levy in control. We do nothing. Hashtag Levy out. Look, at the end of the day, it's 7 days in. Just be a bit patient.
But you can see where they're coming from.
I can see where they're coming from, of course, because it plays into the narrative of every other transfer window, especially every other January transfer window. You sent me that thing last night of all our January transfer windows. I'll get it up now, actually. Just 1 second. Where's Brian Day?
So I'm just voting for myself on YouTube.
You're taking the We Are Tottenham vote, are you?
No, I'm on as me.
So January transfer windows, 12-13, we signed Friars and Holtby. 13-14, no signings. 14-15, Dele Alli. 15-16, no signings. 16-17, no signing. 17-18, Lucas Moura. 18-19, no signing. 19-20, Bergwijn and Jedson. And 20-21, no signings. So, I mean, January is never really a good month, but that's for Tottenham, I'm saying. But
yep,
can you name a good January transfer window for any club? I mean, I think Tevez and Mascherano were one in for West Ham.
Suarez to Liverpool.
Was that January?
Yep.
Tevez and Mascherano, was it January? I can't remember.
I think we played them in the February, so I think that it was his first. So I'm willing to say yes, that was. But then Suarez to Liverpool.
Was that January?
Yep, because Torres went to Chelsea. Now, don't get me wrong, that didn't work out well, but that potentially could have been, and that was a big, big deal. I think Fernandes came to United in January. So there are players, I'm not saying, again, it's not Tottenham, but people are under this illusion. It's and I understand, and I'm with that January is a very, very hard window, but if you need the player, and you can get the player, then there are teams that will dip their toes in the pool and say, right, here we go, this is what we need. Now, obviously, Suarez had to come in because Torres went there, but that's what happens. You get a player out in January, and you bring in, all right, they brought Andy Carroll in as well, which wasn't successful, but it was a big move at the time. But they went and recuperated. They went and gave the manager, say, right, we're going to sell him, but here you go, have these two.
We were in for Suarez that January.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say.
That was nothing to do with Levy why we didn't get him.
He wanted to go to Liverpool, but if he'd offered the money, we'd actually been linked with Suarez for quite a few years.
That was Harry Redknapp's fault. Harry Redknapp didn't want him. That was Harry Redknapp's fault.
So see, this is okay. So that I get. Okay, that I understand, and I will say, okay, that weren't Levy's fault. But the bit that gets me with Levy, and people forget this, is when the Gareth Bale money came in the original first time. AVB only wanted 2 of those players, but Baldini and Levy said, here you go, I bring the players in, you coach them, manage them, whatever. We bring them in, you do what you want. So that didn't work out well. Obviously, it was 7 players, and I think Ericsson and obviously Lamella with his longevity is the only ones that really had any major impact at Spurs. But then when Poch didn't get anyone in one window, and Levy said, well, I offered him loads of players, and Poch said no, well, why didn't you say no to AVB when AVB wanted different players? You can't say, oh, I brought in 7 players, look at that, but the manager didn't want them, but then say when the manager says no to me there, oh, I'm going to listen this time. You can't have it, even though they're years apart, you can't have it both ways.
It was it Franco Baldini at the time? Those were Franco Baldini signings, weren't they?
Yeah, but they didn't listen to the manager.
No, they didn't listen.
They wanted Montinho, he wanted a couple of other players, but was told, no, we're the director of football, we're the chairman, we bring in the players, you coach them. But then apparently when Poch came in and said, no, I don't want these players, Levy goes, oh, okay, I won't bring them in. Yeah. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, at that time, he had Franco Baldini, who was head of recruitment, when Poch had Paul Mitchell there, and we brought like kind of the players that formed the Poch era, you know, the Dele Allis and those kind of players. But the recruitment was terrible after Paul Mitchell left.
Yeah, and why did Paul Mitchell leave?
Because of the parasite. That's why he left. But all of that stuff has got nothing to do with this January.
Well, no, like I said, the easiest way for me to wrap this all up, so we can just
move on.
Yeah, is a leopard doesn't change the spots. Don't get, like I said again. I'm going to say it on every time just to get it clear to people. I back Conte 1,000,000,000%, but a leopard doesn't change the spots.
All right. Let's hope the leopards can change their spots. Let's hope he turns into a chameleon.
Oh, can you imagine?
What else we got? Ryan Isaac Kennard says 7 days in and the club are doing business. Do it early.
That's the guy from the pub on Boxing Day.
Oh, right. Big up, Ryan. Let's see what else we got here. We got one from Sean Butler.
Oh, jeez.
Saying, Brian, you know I love you, who you are as a person, which is much more important than our differences, re Levy. But I do worry whether you would actually prefer us not to sign anybody so you could say I told you so on the
Not see, it's talk like that really pisses me right off. Because I want the best for my club. I have said a billion times, I would rather stand here up and say, well done to that man, and well done, we're going in the right direction, rather than go to the extreme we have to. That's the kind of talk that really sets me off, because I would love nothing more to stand up in front of all of you and go, do you know what? He did well there, or I was wrong. There is nothing more I want, because it means my club is successful. I do what I do, and other people do what they do because we want our Tottenham back. And if this man, which I highly doubt, because a leopard doesn't change his spots, is the man to do it, I will stand down. I will stand down and say, well done, we are now on the right track. But a leopard doesn't change his spots.
Neville Murugan says, Conte's just making noises to keep Levy on his toes. We must wait for the summer and then we can talk. Patience. And I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Yes, if we don't bring anyone in from now until the end of January, I'll be angry. I will be angry. And I will be going in hard on Levy if we don't sign anyone. But things can be saved in the summer transfer window. What I want to be happy is 2 signings, potentially 2 minimum, let's say, 2 minimum signings this January transfer window, and then a whole new rebuild in the summer. That is what I want, and I think that is definitely achievable. That's just what I think.
Well, mate, listen, Ben, you know, and I've said it a bit. I welcome everyone's opinions. I don't just say, right, you're wrong, I'm right. I'm just, like I said, extremely volatile and extremely passionate when it comes to this. And like I said, I understand everyone's opinion, and I appreciate it, and I respect it. Like I said, people will know I never ever get personal with them, ever. I never get rude to them. I never ever, even when I get messages on social media, I always respond. I don't expect everyone to be where I am and other people are, but it's where I am. And like I said, I respect everyone's opinion. That has to be said.
Another super chat here from Lee, Tottenham fan UK, saying we need to start a petition campaign to get Brian, Ben and Sim on the Spurs board. Heads would roll. Love you guys. Come
Cheers,
on, Spurs.
brother. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It would be very interesting. Just to see you in the same room as that guy.
It'd be box office, mate. Pay-per-view.
Absolutely box office. In terms of where the fans are at the moment, the petition is at 47% to me, 30% to Brian, and 23% on the fence at undecided. But let's start bringing on some fans. I'm going to let you take the first call because I need to pop to the Dyers. But I'll be back in a sec.
That. Who have we got? Oh, I'm looking forward to this one.
And just before I go, big up Aravind. Big up Aravind.
Aravind, sir, how are you?
Good. Over here.
Good. It's always good to see you smiling as well, mate. You've got one of those smiles that just radiates. So always good to see you, sir. Before we get onto the main subject, let's talk about Morecambe. What are your thoughts going into this FA Cup?
I think so. This is a game there's nothing much to see about it, but it's a game where we need to win. That's that for sure. But it's a good run of games for to give our players, our main players, a rest and play some of our French players so that we can get these people fresh against Chelsea for the second leg. So that's what I see this a game as. So hopefully Dele Alli and these players should be performing for this game. And need to give a good performance against them. That's that for sure. But yeah, I think it should be an easy win. There's nothing much to talk about this weekend's game, and it's more about giving our French players and hopefully some youngsters from our academy who can also join in the squad, at least not in the starting 11. So that would be a good run of games, and I hopefully I see that happening in the squad. Like at least get 1 2 players just to like freshen up. It's Morecambe. Where are they? The League Two, right? The League Two side. So hopefully like some of our squad players can and our academy players can perform a bit more and give a rest to our first team players so they be fresh and ready. Because especially like Son and Kane were looking very exhausted against Chelsea. Like how much ever we can say Højbjerg was looking exhausted. So if we can give these players a rest, we can have a fresh squad ready to like at least see a comeback against Chelsea. If not, if we not win. So that's what I see this game as, like to give a good run of games to these players.
Okay, and then looking at it, I said I'd like to see maybe, or I think we might see a couple of first team regulars just there to help an inexperienced squad. How many, if you were Conte, how many players would you have from the first team? And I don't just mean the first team that played Wednesday. I mean the general nucleus of what's been the regular team. How many of the first teamers would you bring on to begin with to just help the youngsters through?
Look, we need to be really honest. Our squad is not like very depth that we can fill in each and every position. So I think so. Ryan Sessegnon is if fit can play in the left back because Reguilon is injured. Then Matt Doherty should be playing. So if you ask me, and to be serious, we don't have a backup for Kane unless Conte trusts on Dane Scarlett. And hopefully, I see if Rodon is fit, can at least play in this game and Golini. So they will be of 2 to 3 like wings, Kane, I think so. If not, like to give 20 30 minutes of the game or yeah, and I see 2 to 3 players who should be in the squad or at least be starting in the lineup, but I don't see a huge crunch of players being over there unless if there's any injury issues which is in the squad. So that's what I see from this game, and that's what I think so that'll happen tomorrow. But I think so 2 to 3 players mostly filling in that positions where we don't have squad depth in that position. So I don't know if Bergwijn is fit. I want him to start to Kane to just see what he can give in that position. And I if Dane Scarlett is there, I just want to give him this players around. So we need to see how our academy players can perform a bit and have our first team players also like Kane, Son, and all on the bench if possible. And like wings, I think so Højbjerg can be rested for this game because we have a really good bunch of people who can fit in the midfield role for the game tomorrow, so it can be rested for the game. So yeah, that's how I see the planning against Morecambe, like filling in the positions where we don't have squad depth. I can give that players a chance, and the other players can be rested.
In terms of the scoreline, the last time of my memory we played a team like this at home in the early rounds of the FA Cup was Wickham. And we struggled that day, struggled massively that day. Came from, I think it was 3-1 behind to win 4-3 in the last minute. Are you expecting, if the wholesale changes happen are you expecting another tough game like that? Or do you think it's going to be an easy day at the office?
Like people would come out and here say we'll win 3-0 or 4-0. Yes, it may happen, but football is a funny game. You don't know what we can get from these teams because these teams they're not forced to win. They're just going to come over here and enjoy the football, and they're going to try their best of how much they can come out. So look, the thing is that we can't change our whole team. Like there needs to be few players in the positions like which is not possible to change the whole like. Some like wings or giving few minutes to Højbjerg, which I'm not sure of what Conte thinks, but there would be an idea which some players stay in it, but there'll be few pieces a jigsaw puzzle where we can shift each and every position according to it. So if we are into the game, we are up to the game, we should be winning 3 or 4-0, but we don't know we can't expect to be serious to be a Spurs fan like. The games where I actually really be honest to like, oh yeah, we're gonna win. It doesn't happen. Like Enes Mura, we were thinking we're gonna win and we bottled the game. So we don't know what we can expect from Spurs fan.
But we're a very different team away from home and at home, aren't we?
I'm just saying that we can't go like very. We need to keep our mentality strong to like even if it's a lower sided team, like we need to go for the game and get the win sorted. So I just don't want our mentality to drop. But yeah, I do see a 3-0 or a 4-0 victory easily. We should be winning 3-0 or 4-0 easily. But I'm just saying that football is a funny game, so anything can happen. But yeah, but I go for a 3-0 victory.
Just to let you know, Steven Bergwijn is probably out for the game.
Okay.
Most probably
Okay.
out for the game. And obviously
Oh,
Romero is too, but Ryan Sessegnon should be back.
so that I think so that if in that case we have no other choice, we need to play Harry Kane up front tomorrow. That we have no other choice. So that's what I was saying. So the players where we don't have squad depth, we are forced to sell them. That's how our squad is. Yep. But
Would you start Harry Kane, and then maybe if we get 3 or 4 goals, take him off early and
Yeah.
bring on a Dane Scarlett?
yeah, bring on Deans. Yeah, I think so. That's something which I would force to do. Like we should be running right in the first half, like getting the goals and sorting this game in the first half, like how we did against Crystal Palace. This should
Yeah.
be the same game against Morecambe to just finish off the game in the first half, and then just bring in the youngsters and freshen up and sort this game off. And that's how I see this performance.
Aravind, 7 days into the transfer window. We've signed no one. Coutinho's
Here we
gone to
go.
Villa. Trippier has gone to Newcastle. Me and Brian have been having a big debate this morning. I don't even know what about. We're having a debate in terms of should we be panicking as of yet. What's your opinions?
Look, the thing is that I just want to make this clear out. Is the thing is that, like, getting the what we have done as a Spurs fan and what Daniel Levy has done. Yes, I get the stadium. I get his positives of bringing the academy, because we need good players from the academy, and we need to bring in a bunch of players, which I really love. What Spurs is doing right now is getting Oliver Skip. Hopefully, I see Niall John, and we see Dane Scarlett. So this is one step of it, and I really liked of what Paratici and Daniel Levy is doing on that case, on bringing our scouting team to a world class facility. So these are positive signs. But what I hate about Daniel Levy, and what I think, is that he goes for options. We are the options which, okay, let's say Luis Suarez is for 80 million when he was in prime. We go for the second choice or third choice and just fill in the players for the sake of it. And that's what we do in the transfer window. That's something which I really hate about him. Like, if we have a target on our mind, and if you think he's the world class player, because at the end of the day, yes, you can do hard work, mentality, all of the things come into the factor, but at the end of the day, it's the talent of the players which can play in that positions, and that's what makes a difference against Chelsea. That's the difference. Yes, we can work hard as much as you can, but players which have the talent, which have the grind, can do it, win the game for the whole season. If you see in the Premier League, that's how it works. So if we have a player on the target, let's say if Dusan Vlahovic is a player, one for the future, and one we really want, then go for it. Pay the 77 million. Don't go for options which are cheaper and do it. And the same thing. I think Adama Traore. I don't know about what Antonio Conte thinks, but if Antonio Conte has a player which is way better than Adama Traore, and he has in a mind, like say if Tariq Lamptey is the first choice, then don't convince Antonio Conte, oh, we can't pay, but we have a Traore here, we take it. That's what we do as a Spurs window. And look, as we see, if we don't look at the players of what we spend, we do spend 132 million, 140 million, and but what are the players? What players do we get in? 2014, Roberto Soldado, 40 million. We can pay that for something else. Yes, as much as Ryan Sessegnon is playing, but 30 million. Invest on someone who's proven or shown something in the other league. That's the players we don't go. Milan Skriniar, proven player, we don't go. Paulo Dybala, proven player, we don't go. Griezmann, proven player, we don't go for it, because we like to. Dan Levy likes to find these cheaper deals where they're sort of same features. Okay, we can see the potential, but we never go for the players which are showing the potential, are there, and if they are willing to come to get it. And as much as Ben, you can say that January transfer window we can't sign players. Dusan Vlahovic has not signed a contract. We have Paratici, we have Antonio Conte, we have uh, we have the pulling power, and if we give him a project, he's 22 years of age. If we are giving him a project, if we are giving him the right inputs. Unless I don't know what about what the agent thinks. That's the thing. But what I'm hearing from the sources, from the agents, they're telling that he's interested in Tottenham, Juventus, and these three clubs. So if he's the agent also speaks that, and the player also is in the same symphony, I would say that go for it, get it done. If it's only one player, if it's Dusan Vlahovic, get it done. What did Liverpool do? Liverpool went in the January transfer window. Virgil van Dijk, world class player, proven commodity, done. So that's what I'm telling. If the agent really wants Spurs and we don't sit here and we just wait till summer, nothing is going to change. And that's what pisses me off. It's not about going and spending your 300 million, 400 million and getting. It's the players which we know show the potential and have the potential and been showing. We never go for that. Tell me the last time where we've gone for a top player. The only top player which we have really gone for is Endombele. I've never seen a player. Oh, we've gone for a top player. Yes, Lucas Moura, but even at PSG he was not the top player. We never go for the top players, or we never. It's not like every player we can go for a top player, but there need to be a few players where we need to get in youngsters, a few of them. We need to get a few of top players. It's a mix and match. So that's how the transfer window needs to go. But that all happens with the planning. So if this club really wants a backup striker, which I really feel that our club needs a backup striker, and if the agent wants Spurs, the player wants Spurs, why is there no move from our side? That's what pisses me off from this thing. Let's say Kessie wants Spurs, and the agent wants Spurs, and we have the pulling power, and you know that these two players, everyone can say that if these two players come, there's going to be a huge difference in the squad. But we never do that. We never go for the players which make the difference. We go for potentials. And even Højbjerg, yes, he's been performing really well, but we know that we are a club which can get a better player than him, and that's what we never do, and that's what other clubs does. They go for a City goal. When second season of City, they didn't go sign 8 players or 9 players. Bernardo Silva, they got in that few cruxes of top players which come into the squad. And if Spurs needs to succeed, and if we want to if Daniel Levy needs to take this club to the next stage, yes, he has brought his club to a top 6 team. He's brought it stabilized, and we know this club finishes sixth, fifth, fourth sometimes, and with few fall downs, we go third, second. Yes, but if you want to take our club to the next step, we need to get in not potential players, the top players in this club, and that's what Daniel Levy fails to do it, and that's what I want to see our club to do. It's yes, if you're going for this January transfer window only for Dusan Vlahovic, 77 million, and that's the budget we have. But we're getting a top player. Get it done. I don't mind. I just don't want to go when this transfer window say, oh, get Dusan Vlahovic, or you give me Traore, or get into get in cheap deals of 2 players. That's not our football club should work for Spurs. If you want to take this club to a next level, we need to find in targets which needs to be good for Spurs, who are showing potential for Spurs, and they have shown potential in other leagues, and they are a player which has all the attributes, have the mentality. So all this comes from scouting to this thing. So it's just not about paying the money. Yes, we have paid lots. Overpay for a lot of players. We do overpay for a lot of players. Sessegnon for the potential, but look at the scouting again. So if you go and look at a transfer market, if fans go watch and look at our players, you would go and see this where is one top player which I can see has made a difference in the squad. Like in that 15 players, I can only see Son who has made a difference. So that's what is lacking in the squad, and that's what pisses me off as a Spurs fan, is that when will the squad go for top potentials when the player is willing to come? When Dybala was willing to come, we never go. The joke is that this club has the pulling power. It's just Daniel Levy just needs to take that extra risk, which I don't know why he doesn't take it. He likes to go with the safer side of a safer stability model. He never likes to take that extra risk because I don't know, that's how he works and that's how his planning is. He needs to take that one step extra risk. Come on. If he can do that, just take a risk. A business is all risk, and football transfers work with the risk and liability transfers. But take the risk on players are proven. Don't take the risk on players are not proven. That's what I'm saying. Adama Traore, still unproven. We don't know whether he's going to come to our squad and going to make a difference with what we're seeing. But for Dusan Vlahovic, we know how he's performing. So that's a risk which we can take. So risk and liability needs to be taken into that factor. Then that's what we never do. We take risk on players who never prove anything, who never shown anything, and that's the players we go. And that's why we never succeed and never go to the next stage. And if
So,
you look at a transfer, that's the thing.
Aaron, I'm just to bring something up because I've seen in the comments. Obviously, you brought out Van Dijk, which is another player I forgot to mention. Big deal. It's a huge point. And not only that, so Sean Butler's come up and said that's because they had the Coutinho money, they sold Coutinho. So my answer to that is when we had the Gareth Bale money, why did we spend on 7 players rather than get 2 World Cup?
Why are we talking about the Gareth Bale?
No, but I'm saying when they got money in,
talking about that
I'm
now?
saying when they got money in, they're saying that because they had the money come in. Why is it when
But
they
we
sell?
know the club has been in a mess.
Yeah, but
we know the
no,
hierarchy
I'm saying that.
has
But
been-
Sean Butler's trying to say that it's because they had Coutinho money and they can do this. Well, when we've had the opportunities to do this, it's been quality. It's been quantity over quality as opposed to quality over.
Look, I completely agree with that. And in the past, it's been nowhere near up to scratch. We could all agree with that. Everyone in this chat can agree with that. That in the past, it hasn't been up to scratch. But we're talking about the here and the now with Conte and Paratici.
Oh, yeah, no, I was reaching out to Sean because he was trying to say that they got the Coutinho money and so they could do this. That's what I'm saying. You can't have it that because Liverpool did this, they had the money. There have been times when we've had the money, when we could have Fernandes, when we could have
spoken to death about what's happened in the past.
Oh yeah, but no, I can't have it when people go in and say when Aravin mentions Van Dijk and then says because they had the Coutinho money, but then when we have had opportunities, we know the poor recruitment. But you can't use that argument when it suits you for Liverpool, but you can't use it the same way when it comes to us. You can't. It's not apples and oranges. They had money. They said to their manager, what do you need? He said a world-class centre-back. I want Van Dijk. I want a world-class goalkeeper. They broke the world transfer record fee for both. Whereas when we have the money, it's bargain basement. Or we do, as they say in Countdown, 1 from the top and 4 from the bottom or whatever it is. That's what I'm getting at. I know this to do with the past, but you can't have it that, oh, it's okay, Liverpool did that. Liverpool are a bigger club. They did this, they did that. But then when we have the opportunity, we don't happen.
But we know all that. We know all that. We know we haven't done well in the past with transfers. We know that Levy has not done good by us in terms of transfer markets in the past. Let's say since Harry Redknapp has come, just for argument's sake. I know it's been longer than that.
Yep.
But let's just for argument's sake, right? We know all of that. But he's never brought in a manager of Conte's caliber before.
Ben, I'm completely with you on that. I'm just saying we can't have it one way for one team and another way for another team. That's what I'm saying.
The thing, Ben, I do agree with it. That's the past, but I'm just saying that what Daniel Levy and Conte and what they're thinking, I think so. They should go further in what are transfers in this mentality than just going for bargain buys. That's what we are. I think so. Brian is also trying to say that is that. When we go for the transfers, we need to go for the players which have shown potential, and we know that even they may look. It's not a guarantee that they come to Spurs and everything changes. So they may be failures. Ndombele failed. Has been a failure in Spurs. So I'm not saying it can be a guarantee, but I'm just saying that we need to take the extra risk when we know that if the player has the potential, and hopefully that's what happens with Conte and Paratici and what they're planning to do in the future, whether it's a summer, because Di Marzio is quoted saying that we're going to have a huge summer. So I'm not denying that our club may not do, but it's all we need to see. And I'm just speculating of what Levy has done past should not be doing the same, and he needs to change to a different mentality, and that's what I want to see from him.
But Aravind, you talk about Vlahovic, right? And you talk about Di Marzio and those quotes from Vlahovic's agent and stuff like that. But you had literally from the horse's mouth Vlahovic himself saying he wants to get Fiorentina back into Europe. Vlahovic ain't going nowhere this January. He ain't going nowhere.
No, I just give an example of Vlahovic. If he is coming to Spurs, then then we should go for it. I'm just giving an example. It can be any other player at the past who may have want to come to Spurs of that potential, but we never go. Let's say we want Skriniar in summer. Instead of going for someone cheaper, we could have gone for Skriniar. And what we did in the summer was good. We got Romero for 45 million. I'm not denying that. Paratici got it done. Quality player, top quality player. So that's what I'm trying to say. But we should not go and just get in the fill-in gaps for players for sake of it, which we have done in the past. And I don't want the club in the future to being doing the same, which we did for Gareth Bale also. So never go for the cheap deals. And if we can, it's okay to go and get two world-class players than signing five players for the sake of it. And that's what I'm trying to say. I just gave an example. If for Deuce and Blau, it can be for any other player which we are looking for. But just go for the players who have the potential, who have shown the potential, and that's what we need to go as a club for the future to challenge for the title or challenge for the Champions League. That's what I'm trying to say. And
Look, I think you're absolutely spot on in terms of the targets we need. Look, we need signings through the door. We need them to be at a certain level so we compete for the top four, so we can progress as a club. That is obvious. That's completely obvious to everyone. That's completely true. Everything you said in that point is absolutely spot on. But having said all that, and after bringing in a Conte and a Paratici, do you not think that we need to have a bit of patience as a fan base now?
Yeah, look, it's January the 7th, so we need to wait till what happens happens till 31st, like what it happens. And if we get let's say if we get Kessie on a pre-contract and we get two players, I'm not going to see anything saying that what they're doing is wrong. But and we can't go and say that there is a plan for the summer. So we need to be patient as a Spurs fan. We need to be patient. But I do agree from a fan's point of view of why our fans are not patient because of track record of what we have done in the 20 years.
I completely get
that's
that.
That's the reason why the fans are a bit overactive of 7 days, because we have seen till 25th and we have not done anything in the past. So yes, we need to be patient, and I do agree that Paratici is there. He's some, I think so, he's more than Conte. He's the person who is a gem for this club to grow, because he's doing a lot of things of scouting. Scouting is improving. They're trying to make it world class. He's tried to convince Cuti Romero to come to this club. So he's doing a lot of wonders to this club, and I'm not denying. I'm just saying that if Daniel Levy also can change a bit of his perspective, because his model has worked till now to get a top six club. I just want him. I look, as much as we do say Parasite and all this stuff. If he is willing to change and he's willing to take this club to the next level, no one over here is going to scold him and he's going to abuse him. No one is over is going to do that. The thing is that he never shows the intent, and he never does that. And the same thing, if the rumors are true, there's no meeting with Antonio Conte. Yes, you don't need to forget about the transfers. There needs to be some kind of planning which needs to be done. Either because it's January 7th, so already 23 days, 24 days left for the transfer window to end. But there needs to be some kind of planning. Either it doesn't need to be for the January. It can be like, okay, these are the players. We can't get them right now, but we can get them in the summer transfer window. So there needs to be some kind of planning which needs to go. And I want Daniel Levy. Why does Antonio Conte need to meet? Why can't Daniel Levy also show the passion and the aggression of, oh, this is what is happening in the club. Let's see what can we do. Why can't he also show the intent? That's what worries me. You as a chairman, if you are a fan of this club, let's say if you are the chairman, you would also show intent of, okay, let's see, need to be connecting to it, or needs to show what he also wants from it. Not just about yes, money, stability, club, everything else is one factor of it, but there needs to be a bit more engagement and a bit more transparency. It doesn't need to be with the fans. You can keep a lot of things private, but at least with the with Paratici and Conte, there should be more clearer ideas. That's what I want to say. You don't need to tell it to us, or it may also be false of this journalist saying they might have had a meeting before, which they have talked privately without knowing, because Daniel Levy likes to do a lot of things private. And what we've seen in the transfers, Paratici done in the summer, we don't know if something may just pop up, because we didn't see Brian Hill popped up, Emerson Royal happened in the last minutes. So we don't know what may happen at the transfers, and a lot of things are happening in the back. But what, as we can see as fans, if there's better, clearer planning, a better shape of how to grow, and there's better intention from Daniel Levy, and if he can do that from change his mentality, then it'll be good. Or else it's going to be the same old Spurs for another few more years. That's my opinion.
All right, Aravind, absolutely brilliant call. Thanks for calling in, and we shall speak to you very soon, my friend.
Hopefully, but better things to happen in this month.
Come on, let's hope so. See you later, Aravind.
Come on, you.
Spurs. Big up Aravind. Always love speaking to him. And the next guest, we always love speaking to him as well. And that is...
Danny Kiriakou. Danny Kiriakou. How are you, brother?
You're on mute, brother.
You're still on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
That's better.
There we go.
That was weird.
You've only been coming on for 2 years.
I know. Bloody hell, man. How are you guys? How are you?
Mate. All good, mate. And you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bad. I mean, I'm kind of feeling. Oh, this morning when I first woke up and I saw the Coutinho thing, I was kind of feeling, oh, that's just brilliant, isn't it? Just what a lovely thing to wake up to. I mean, everyone else doing business, and yet again, we're just considering things as usual. But that's just Tottenham for you. So we just got to get used to that, to be honest. But yeah.
Just before we get into the transfers and stuff like that, let's talk about the Morecambe game.
Can I just add something before we do it? Because I was going to say it with Aravind, but we changed the transfers. You know when you said about Scarlett and Kane, I'd actually like to see Scarlett and Kane together, because every time Scarlett's played, he hasn't had someone of class up there with him to help him and support him. So he's done bits and pieces, but obviously he hasn't had that experience. He hasn't had someone of the class of Harry Kane alongside him. So I'd love
3-5-2 with Scarlett and Kane up top.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe to begin with, or if need be at the end. But I think we need to give Scarlett some time with either a son, and we think it will be Kane, a Kane up top, to at least have that guy up there with him to help him through. And I'd really, really want to see that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be against that at all. How are you looking at this game coming into it? How many changes do you think we're going to make, wholesale changes on the weekend?
I think there'll be a fair amount of changes. I kind of agree with what Brian was saying, to be honest with you. I think, look, I cannot see Conte dropping Kane. I just can't see it. I mean, look, no matter who he plays, this team should be winning this game by 3 goals easily, right? There's no reason why we shouldn't, but we know what Tottenham are like, and then Tottenham could turn up and it ends up being like a very close, hard fought kind of 2-1 victory or something like that. But look, end of the day, whoever plays should be enough to beat this team by more than 2 goals. That's to say the least. For me, I think. Well, we know Bergwijn's injured, so it would have been nice to have seen him. But I think if he's going to go in the 3-5-2 formation, I would like to see Kane and Scarlett up front, because I think every time Scarlett's played up front when he was with Nuno before, he played by himself, and you could see that no one was giving him anything or they weren't passing the ball to him. He wasn't getting the opportunities, and he was and he's not at that level where he can make opportunities for himself just yet in men's football. Don't forget, the kid's he's just turned 18, isn't it? Or he's 17 still, so he's so young, and he's got a lot of learning to do still. So if I can't see Conte doing the 3-5-2. I think he's going to go with the 3-4-3 again, and I think he'll probably go with Kane up top, Gil on the left, and he'll probably go with Mora on the wing. And I think in the middle he'll probably give Winks a game, and he'll probably give Skip. If it's not Skip, I actually think he'll play Lo Celso if it's going to be in the 2 in the midfield. I think Lo Celso is kind of
nailed on to start this.
I'm actually going to put another person. I'm going to put another person in the mix who I really hope to play, and I really wish that he was in our Conference League team, and he played against Marine last year. Is someone I have a lot of hope for and think he's going to be a superstar. Is Alfie Devine.
Alfie Devine.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see him. I just can't see Conte doing that, because Conte wants to try and he doesn't want to mess. He's already said it himself. He doesn't want to mess too much with the team. He wants to keep the balance, and he wants to try and keep that level similar in all the games, no matter who we play. And I think he'll make some changes. He won't make I can't think he'll make 11 changes. I think you'll see Kane in there from the first team. I think you'll see Kane. I think Rodon will probably come in. I think you'll probably see Sanchez at right centre back. Ben Davis is given. I don't know whether he'll play Galini. I mean, you would have thought he'd play Galini just to give Lloris a rest, but obviously Lloris has just been so good for us this season. It'd be hard to drop him, right? So I don't know whether he will drop him or not. But yeah, I think Lo Celso is a given for this game. I think there's no way he's not going to play him. I think he'll start. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does a midfield three, right? Because if he does that, then I think you'll see Lo Celso, Winks, and Dele Alli, I think, in the midfield if he goes for the three. And Winks will be obviously that kind of holding midfielder. And then Dele Alli and Lo Celso will be the two kind of forward players.
Who do you think who will be more advanced of the two?
It'd be hard I would probably say Lo Celso. I would probably say he'd say Lo Celso because Dele Alli apparently likes to do a lot of running, right? So yeah, probably say
flicks as well.
Yeah, a lot of flicks, a lot of nonsense, a lot of rubbish, to be honest. But yeah, people might not agree with me, but that's my opinion on Dele Alli. And do you know what? If he does go 3-5-2, I could see him playing Mora and Kane up top to start with. I think Son's going to get a rest regardless. I think he has to have a rest. And I think Højbjerg needs a rest because if I see Højbjerg again, I'm going to be so pissed off. I'm not even joking. Like, the guy needs to rest. And if he plays against bloody Morecambe, it's just disgraceful if you ask me. I think he's probably, him and Son are the biggest, are the two players that need the biggest rest, the most rest in our squad, right?
I don't want to see either of them have any minutes.
I don't want to see either of them have any minutes. And if he has to bring any of them on, it just goes to show how pathetic we are as a club, to be honest, to not be able to have those players. I mean, we know how shit some of these players are, right? But to have to bring on Son and Højbjerg to try and get us a result against bloody Morecambe, then I mean, yeah, we really are an utter disgrace, and we've got utter dross.
Danny,
and,
I think I'd be annoyed if they're on the bench. If Son and Højbjerg were even on the bench, I'd be annoyed. Just listen, give them a day off, spend time with their family, or if they have to go to the home games, just let them. They need to rest, and that's not being on the subs bench.
I tell you what, though, on your point on Alfie Devine before, I can't see Alfie playing, but one player from the youth team which I could potentially see getting some minutes, maybe from the bench or from the starting lineup, would be Harvey White, because he's the one that's actually been on the bench recently. So Alfie Devine hasn't even been on the bench under Conte, so I think it's much more chance of Harvey White than Alfie Devine.
I think someone, I agree with that as well. I don't think Devine will get any minutes. I mean, if he does, it'll be brilliant. I think a lot of us would like to see it. But I think Harvey White is probably the more likely to who will get some minutes. And I think the idea is probably to try and start fast, get a couple of goals in, take off some of the key players, and then give some of the youngsters a run out who can just kind of keep the game as it is, and maybe if we're lucky, get another goal or something like that. I think that's what the game plan's going to be. I think he'll start off kind of like a half team, half kind of youngsters or players who are fringe players, and then half kind of first team. I think Sessegnon will probably start. I would have thought he'd start, unless, or like I was saying yesterday, Reguilon will probably play like a little, maybe one half, and then Sessegnon the other half or something like that, just to give him some minutes and see how he does. Because I've got a funny feeling if Sessegnon does play and does well, he's going to start against Chelsea next week.
Interesting. So you think if Sessegnon plays well, that's 3 games in a row then, Reguilon, no Reguilon? Yeah,
I mean, look, I've said it before, right? I believe Sessegnon's got a higher ceiling than Reguilon, and I would not change my mind at all, ever. I think Reguilon is a better crosser of a ball. But the problem is Reguilon's similar to Emerson, right? He's not direct enough. He doesn't take on his man. And the funny thing is, Reguilon is fast and he can do it, but you just don't see it enough. He just, it's like he's scared sometimes to take on his man. You do see it occasionally, but he can do it far more than what he does produce in terms of his directness, right? And it's so frustrating because he's got all this ability and he can do it, but I just hope that Conte can get that trained and drilled into him to just not be scared to take on his man. And that's what's really frustrating. I think we all know that he needs to bulk up a little bit, right? Because we've seen Sessegnon, he's definitely bulked up from what he was maybe 2 seasons ago, because he obviously had that loan last year where he did pretty decent, pretty well. And I think with Sessegnon, he's more aggressive. He's a bit more stronger. You saw against what he did against Salah, right? Who's arguably the best player in the world right now. And he had him in his back pocket the whole game. And not just that, it was what he was doing to Trent. It was the way he was taking him on, right? And he was aggressive. He was beating him a lot of the times. And it just that's what you want to see. It kind of made me think a little bit of like the old Danny Rose in his prime, when he was just exhilarating to watch. Like, the guy was so direct. He was good at crossing. He was strong. He was quick. He was clever. And you got glimpses of that in Sessegnon in that Liverpool game. And that, like I said, that was the best football we played in the last few years for me. And yeah, the only thing is, obviously, we know with Sessegnon is his injuries, right? If he can stay fit, I honestly believe he's going to take that spot long term. I honestly believe that.
The thing is, Danny, with Ryan Sessegnon, that Liverpool game was the first game, really, where we've seen any sort of potential since he's joined Spurs, really. We've seen players in the past, Japhet Tanganga on his debut against Liverpool, absolutely having a stormer, keeping, I think it was Mane in his back pocket that day. You saw Tanganga on the first game of the season against Man City, keeping Riyad Mahrez and stuff like that in his pocket. So, I mean, I think with Sessegnon, we need a bit of patience with him. He needs to get these injuries out of his game. And we need to see him have a consistent run where he has good performances week in, week out. I think the potential is definitely there, but I'm not sure if he has a bigger ceiling than Reguilon
I think he does, right? And I'll tell you, because look, he's 21 years old. People need to remember he's 20. Reguilon is 25, right? So Reguilon should be starting to hit prime years, right?
Yeah.
And he's just so inconsistent. The problem with Sessegnon, I know he's only started now, but he's got the best coach in the world who can coach him. Now, if he can get over this injury problems that he has, I honestly believe he's going to learn far more from Conte than Reguilon will. And I just think he wants it more. I honestly believe he wants it more than Reguilon. Just what I've seen in the last couple of games. I know you can't judge a player. I'm not stupid to judge a player in a few games, yeah. But it's just I feel that he's young enough to kind of to have a sort of a better career than sort of Reguilon at Spurs. That's just what I feel anyway. And yeah, I think if he can work on his crossing as well, I think he'd be a better option for us. But again, he is made of glass. So he's another player that we have that's made of glass that is continuously injured all the time. And it's so frustrating because we've got a lot of players like that. And it's like whenever we need them the most, they just end up getting injured and they're out for like a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months here. And it's just like, here we go again. And that's as simple as that. And then we have to rely on the dross that we have in the squad right now.
Yeah. I mean, got a super chat here from We're Sly. Member for 12 months. A big up.
Big up. Big up.
Saying, hoping Morecambe will be the last chance from Conte. I'm not sure what he means by that. Hoping Morecambe would be last chance from Conte.
Maybe if it's not a best performance, whether it's relaxed. What I take from that is maybe saying if it's another not decent performance, that hopefully it'll be the last straw where he'll start getting a bit more abrupt with what's going on with the club. That's what I take from that. It may not completely be, but I don't think it's the last chance for him. Like he walks from Morecambe. That's not what I take from that totally. I think you can see his interviews. We've seen it after more. We've seen it in a few games where you can see there's something like we were talking about yesterday. There's something just not quite right. Maybe that's what the guy means.
Interesting. What is your score prediction, Danny?
I'm gonna go over Bob Spur 4-1. I'm gonna go with Bob Spur 4-1 for Bob Spur. I believe that we will concede, especially if Galini plays, and I just think it's FA Cup. You know what happens in FA Cup? It's one of the things you can never. It's like it is football, right? You can never kind of anticipate what's going to happen. So I think we will concede one, but I think we're going to score quite a few tomorrow. So I'm hoping it's going to be a 4-1 tomorrow.
Let's talk transfer window. Let's talk Daniel Levy. Let's talk Paratici and Conte. Obviously, you must have heard the debate that me and Brian have been having over the past hour or so. What's your feelings regarding it all?
So I was speaking to Brian this morning as well, and I was pissed off with the Coutinho stuff. And look, you can look at it two ways, right? You can look at it as one, we did need a creative player. It was a loan deal. Villa have got probably a good deal out of it because essentially they don't have to buy him. They just loan him for 6 months. They try him, see what it's like, and then that's it, right? And if he's not good, they won't buy him. If he's good and they decide they want him, they buy him, right? I think you can't. It's a great opportunity now. We don't know obviously the finances behind the deal because we know Coutinho's on big wages, but I wouldn't have thought Aston Villa are going to pay like a massive percentage of his wages, right? It'll probably be similar to like a Gareth Bale deal where it's like I don't know, 40% Villa pay and then the rest Barcelona pay or something like that, like how what we did with Gareth Bale, right? which again would probably be good for. It would have been good for us, I think, because we're lacking that creative player. But who knows? We don't know the story behind it. We don't know if that's what Conte sees him fitting in his system. We don't know if that's he maybe said maybe they did offer it to him and he didn't want it. That we don't know that, so we can't. We're just speculating, right? As much as a lot of us fans would have loved to have him, and I think probably majority of us would have said, yeah, he would be great for us because look, he can take set pieces. He's good at free kicks. He's good at crossing. He's good at passing. He'll create a lot of chances. But again, it's we don't know the full story, right? So look, it's done now. Villa have got him. It is what it is. I'm annoyed. Obviously, we still haven't done anything. But look, I do see it from your side of view as well, Ben, because Brian knows my feelings of Daniel Levy. I still want him out and all this kind of stuff.
I think all of our feelings of Daniel Levy can echo each other, can't they?
Yeah, exactly. But look, it is. I do agree to an extent. It is only 7 days, and look, I know that Spurs have always been a club that will always do business late, always, right? Or they always try and do these stupid deals right at the end, right? And look, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think it'd be disappointing window if we don't get at least 2 players. We need a minimum of 2 players, and I think that obviously they're saying the rebuild's going to happen in the summer, right? The big rebuild, that's where we're going to spend the money, and I think that's also going to be dependable on where we finish in the league, because obviously you finish in the top 4, you attract better players, you're going to get more money. It's as simple as that, right? And then you could probably your ideas of what you want to do, you can probably achieve them a lot easier than you would if you were, say, in the Conference League or the Europa League, right? So I think we have to try and get 2 key positions. The problem is, right, I think every position is key. We need someone in every fucking position, right?
Pretty much.
But it just depends on what they agree on, what's more important right now for the next 6 months, right? And I think from what it sounds like, they're looking to go for a right wing back and a left centre back. And I think they see that as more important than anything else. Now, if you watched Alistair Gold's video yesterday, he was saying the players they wanted to look for this January, if they could get them, was the right wing back, and he's obviously mentioned that first, the left centre back, and if they can, a striker, right? We know that. But he's also apparently added to that list a central midfielder, and we know that as well, because we know we probably need 2 central midfielders. We need a striker, we need a right wing back, maybe probably 2 defenders, I would say, and then
probably
depending
a right
on
winger as well.
Yeah, a right winger as well, and probably depending on what happens with Galini, we're going to need another goalkeeper, right? So that's your rebuild right there. That's that you need. Those amount of players. You need about 7 odd players, right? 7, 8 players, I'd say, to fully rebuild this squad. And I'm not talking just filling numbers. I'm talking. We all know we need quality, right?
Yeah.
If they can get, I'd be happy if they can get a right wing back and a top centre back this window. I just can't see them doing that, just because, like you said, Ben, you are right. I know as much as money talks, but the problem is I just can't see Daniel Levy changing his ways in terms of going out and spending 40 odd million on a centre back right now, a top centre back or wherever it is, to go to kind of help us achieve the Champions League spots this season. I just can't see it. And I think you look at this Traore thing on all this news that's coming out, right? And it just seems more and more that it looks like it might happen. You see more and more reporters saying that they're looking like they want to try and do like a Doherty plus cash swap kind of deal for Traore, and they want to use him as a right wing back. And it does kind of, if that was to happen, it does feel like what Aravin was saying, right? It's like it's our third target or second target. I wouldn't have thought Conte would have said, I want Adama Traore as my right wing back. I mean, we all know probably right now a better option at right wing back who actually plays in that position is probably Lamptey, but he's going to cost too much money. Again, Lamptey also has his injury problems, right? He's not someone who's constantly fit. Now, I know he's been doing a lot better this season, but they're going to want a lot of money for him because it's an English player as well, and it's just how it is. So it's definitely difficult to do business in the January window purely for the fact that clubs don't want to sell their best assets, right? Unless, because we've seen it before, right? We've seen it before where clubs like, I don't know, Southampton or other clubs will say, we're not selling anyone right now because we can't get a replacement in, no matter how much money it is. And clubs, look, we've done it before. We've lost money because we said we're not going to sell him. We're not going to sell him because we can't get a replacement. Tottenham are big examples of that, right? And then we go in the summer and then we sell him for like half the money. And it's like, well, that's great business, isn't it? But the reason why they didn't want to do it because they knew they couldn't get anyone of that level or anything close to that to replace them. And it's the same for other clubs as well. And it's like this Vlahovic thing, right? I reckon with him, I don't think we're going to sign him, right? I don't think we're going to sign him in the summer. I don't think we're going to sign him this January. I think he's going to go to a much bigger club just because of what he's doing, right? Tottenham don't buy the best of the best. We just don't. And even though he's young and he's got even more potential, he's got more sell-on value, I just, especially if it goes to a bidding war, well, you know what Daniel Levy's like. He ain't entering no bidding war of any club for a player, especially someone of that ability whose numbers at someone of that age is only bettered by Haaland at the moment. Now, Ornstein's come out and said that number one priority for Man City in the summer, he'd come out about 20 minutes ago saying Man City's number one target is Haaland, but they're also monitoring Vlahovic. They're looking at Isak, and they're still interested in Kane. So look, we don't know what's going to happen, right? For all we know, Kane might decide to do you know what? I want to leave because obviously Alistair Gold was saying Harry Kane, from the word from his camp is they would like to look to do another contract, but they're going to wait and see what if Conte's backed or not. Because if he's not backed, they want to leave, right? And it's as simple as that. It's just I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Because for all we know, I don't think Conte is going to walk if we don't do any deals or anything this window. I think if there's one thing we're going to do, it's probably going to be Lloris's contract. And I don't know, we'd be lucky if we get one player. I think we need a minimum of two, but I don't know if we're going to get that. And I think that, like Brian was saying yesterday, I think within the first month, if we haven't signed players, right, or haven't shown that we're going to sign anyone in the summer window, I think then Conte might be looking at walking. Now, if Conte walks, Kane's gone. That's it. He'll hand in a transfer request and shit's going to hit the fan with the fans. It's just going to be turmoil for our club, right? Even more so than it is right now. I know we're looking promising because we have got Conte, but I said this morning on Twitter, I was like, it means fucking nothing. It means fuck all if Daniel Levy doesn't back him, right? We all know that, right? If Daniel Levy does not get the checkbook out, whether it's this month, whether it's in the summer, for this manager to get the players he wants and get the players out, yeah, then we are fucked. We're finished. I'm not even joking. I was speaking to my sister's boyfriend yesterday, and he's a Chelsea fan, right? And he was talking about Conte, and even he was saying, like, if Conte was to leave without us being backed, then our club's going to be in absolute disarray. It's going to be unbearable for a lot of people, and I think there'll be no one to kind of back Levy after that if Conte walks because of him not being backed the right way. And it's not even like go and give him 200 million. It's just go and get the players he fucking wants. It's as simple as that. Like if he wants a I don't know, like a De Vrij or someone like that, just go and get him. He's in the summer, he's going to have 12 months left on his contract. So if he doesn't sign a contract, I know he might be 29, but he's far better than what we've got right now. The only person you'd say is better is Romero. He's better than Dyer, De Vrij. I mean, I know there's so many players out there that we could get that's better than what we've got, and it's just a matter of them putting the money down for it. Look, so this it's just a wait and see now, and I think all us fans, all we can do is hope, because that's all we ever seem to do. And normally we're met with disappointment and failure, but this is the chance that. This is Daniel Levy's kind of last chance, really, to show what he's about and we put it this way, by the summertime, we're going to know what Daniel Levy feels about this club, right? Yeah. We're going to know fully. Everyone's going to know. All the Daniel Levy inners, all the Daniel Levy outers, all the people sitting on the fence, every fucking Spurs fan is going to know exactly what Daniel Levy thinks about this club by what he does in these next two windows, right? It's as simple as that. If in the summertime we've gone in and we haven't got all the players we needed and we've gone for our second and third options again, then that just tells you everything. That just tells you everything.
Yeah, and I think that's completely right. That's completely right. I mean, I think Levy's backed into a corner now.
Yep.
He's got Paratici, he's got Conte in through the door. If he plays up to his old tricks like he has done in prior windows, then, you know, the fans all have a right to go nuclear on him. And yes, the fans have had a right in the past to go nuclear on him as well. We all have done. But now he's brought in Conte. Now he's brought in Paratici. 7 days into the window is not the time for panic. It's not the time to go in hard on the club. It's the time to wait and see and be patient and see what happens. And yes, if it comes to the summer and things are still the same way, then it's time for the fans to rise up. But right now, it's the time for patience and it's the time to back the club.
Sorry, I just want to say one quick sentence. Listen, whatever edge of the fence or spectrum you are, there's one thing that we are all completely aligned with, that all we want is a successful, competing Tottenham Hotspur. That is the crux of this whole thing. That's what we want. There's just people that are very different ends of the spectrum, but the main objective is we all want a competing, successful Tottenham Hotspur. It's just how we get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Danny?
I was just going to kind of elaborate on that, and I think, like Brian just said, everyone just wants Spurs to compete and to try and compete to win things and just show that passion that we all want to see. Obviously, we know what the problems are. We know we need to clear out of a lot of players, and yeah, it's just like you said, Ben. Right, we have to just wait and see now. We have to be patient. And unfortunately, I know Spurs fans are not patient fans, but look, we've had 21 years of failure on the pitch. Right, let's have it right. That's what's happened. Right, we've been lucky we were lucky to get to the Champions League final. We were I know we've won one League Cup in the last 20 odd years, and it's not enough, and this club should be doing a lot better. And this is kind of like you said, it's the last kind of chance for the board and to kind of show what ambition they really have. It's like, is it going to be that kind of usual smoke and mirrors that they have? They bring in someone like Conte, and then they feed him all these lies, and then they say, oh yeah, we're going to try this, and then, oh sorry, we couldn't get him, we couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. And then Conte will see right through it at some point, and then he'll be like, okay, do you know what? Fuck this, I'm leaving. Yeah, or is he actually going to back him? That's the two things that's going to happen. It's going to be one of the two things, right? It's literally the only two things that will happen.
But right now, there's no point talking about previous windows. There's just no point.
No, I get that, right? There isn't, because look, we shouldn't be looking in the past anyway. We should just look to the present and the future, right? And yeah, the only thing we can do is wait and see what happens. There's still like 20 odd days in the window left, and we've obviously got a summer that they're planning to do a supposed rebuild that we've been waiting for the last 4 years. So yeah, we just have to wait and see, and let's just hope that they can bring in one or two players this window and start this rebuild that they keep talking about, or Conte's alluded to, and Poch has alluded to, and Mourinho's alluded to, and everyone has alluded to. That's literally all we can do, right? We can't do anything. We just have to sit and hope. We can't force anything. We can't force them to go and buy players. Only Conte can do that, and if there's anyone who's going to be able to do it, it's him. And he's obviously got someone in his corner as well in Paratici. So we hope that the two are going to work their magic to do what we all think that they can do.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So Danny, thank you for coming on once again, my friend, and we shall see you very soon.
Speak to you later, brother.
Pleasure, boys. Speak to you later, boys. Take it easy, man.
See ya.
Super chat here from Mikey K saying, have you guys closed the live call-in screen? No, I don't believe we have. This call-in's still open, aren't they? Yeah, they're still open. So if you do see a waiting circle when you're trying to come on, it just means that you're in the queue and you will be let in. So just have a little bit of patience, just like the Spurs fans need to have right
Look at that.
now.
You're such a professional with your links to clips. That's fantastic.
And talking of patience, we're going to bring in the most patient man on WhatsApp, and that is Mr. Brains McLeod. Brains,
What's up, Brains?
How we doing, brother?
Free Joe, hashtag free Joe Rogan, hashtag free Mikey. he's been waiting for like 3 hours already to get on.
Why has he been waiting for 3 hours? I don't understand.
I think he was the first person who tried to get on, and he's just been waiting. I don't know, like his website or his browser hates him, or you guys hate him or something. No, there he is.
We definitely do not hate him. Let's just put that clear. Let's just put that clear.
Nice. He's finally got in, and he's got a ridiculous haircut. So you're all going to be treated to something special when you see him.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Looking forward to it.
Spoiler
Looking
alert,
forward
yeah,
to
sorry
it.
about that.
But Brains,
Yeah.
let's talk about the Morecambe game before we get into the nitty gritty. How you? Obviously, you must be confident going into it. But how many changes are you expecting for the game this weekend?
Yeah, quite a lot of changes because we don't have any option. I mean, if we play a first team player, then we're just fucking morons. Like, we're just morons. Like, if Conte goes in and plays a first team player who we need so desperately this month, then it's another strike for me, because he's been making some ridiculous decisions recently. And this, if he goes and plays like any player who's really needed in the next few games, it's just crazy for me. Kane cannot start. He cannot be on the bench. Sonny can't. Højbjerg can't. Anyone who's pivotal to the team, we cannot keep watching these players' legs literally falling off them. Like, the form dip is unbelievable in some of these players. You know, like, Son just scoring a goal every now and then is fine, but that's not just his game. His game is to run. His game is to beat players. His game is to be a utility player, to set other players up. And he's not doing it. Like, he had a really good start to December, and it just went right off the edge, you know? So we can't keep killing players. And that's what this squad does right now. That's what, unfortunately, a Conte to the squad, and I'm not dissing that, but you have to understand, Conte has 2 training sessions, 1 day off, but then on that day off it's gym, it's physio, the next day it's 2 training sessions. And how in that time are you going to do tactical stuff? How in that time, because you've got a game the next day, you know? So it's Conte asking for patience, for me, doesn't really cut it, because you don't have time. Like, in the Premier League right now, you play all the time. Cup games, play all the time. We've got 2 games to get to fit in as well. So for me, it's like, if you get a game like this, it's a blessing. Like, I would say Gill, Dele, Lucas, maybe not Lucas, Gill, Dele, and Harvey White as your front line. Then Cess as left wing back. Piscotty is the right wing back. Not Davies, Rodin, maybe. See, this is where you get to the back line. You go, what do you do now? What do you do now? Rodin's the only one who can really play. Rodin, Tanganga, who basically threw 2 goals away against Chelsea. Like, do you put him in to just get some confidence back?
I think Tanganga has to come straight back in. He has to.
What, tomorrow?
Yeah, because he's
on Sunday. Yeah.
Because he's got to get his confidence back. So then maybe you have to play a 4 at the back. It's when you look at the squad and you're really trying to rotate this squad, you just can't really do it. It's easily solved. But you can't do it with this squad right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, let's say if we are going for a 5-3-2, let's say, for argument's sake, or 3-5-2, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, the way I would play it is probably Rodin, Tanganga, and...
Give it away after I predicted 11.
Yeah, let's not do that. Nah, but we can talk about it. It's not an issue. I mean, I'd go for Rodin, Tanganga, and probably Sanchez. I'll just stick Sanchez in there. I mean, I know, potentially he's going to be overplayed, but you got Romero coming back in soon anyway, so Sanchez will be getting a lot of rest after that. So, I mean, I think that's the back 3 probably sorted. Right wing back, you know, you're probably going to have to put Doherty there, aren't you?
Where's Carter Vickers when we need him?
Carter Vickers. Yeah. Well, to be honest, if that Wickham game was anything to go by, I don't want Carter Vickers to play in this game. You know, you're playing Cess right wing back. So, I mean, I think there are options there. There are options there that we can play.
I think Piscotty is a really good player. He plays in his national team pretty well. Yeah. And I think he's a decent player. So
the problem is his national team is Estonia, and the teams and the players that they have at that level. I mean, they don't have top level players, do they, Estonia? And yes, he played very well in the preseason. But we've seen, you know, Dane Scarlett play all right in the preseason, and when he puts him in the first team, he looks like a boy amongst men.
Yeah, I know, and I wouldn't put Scarlett in this game. I'd lean more towards Markendi. But as I was saying with Piscotty, the one thing about him is, if you have watched some of their games, basically, he actually does handle himself really well against really good players. He's kind of like, he's not a problem, is what I'm saying. Like, Estonia don't have good things in their team, but he's not the problem. Like, he actually does really well. He actually plays like a strong. Every time I've seen them in some of their qualifiers and just having a look at him, I've actually been like, damn, he's strong. He's actually a really good player. And so for a game like this, why is he here? Why are these players here? Just like, bring him in. Like, why not? What if he looks incredible? Maybe he's a rotation player. We're just kind of beggars can't be choosers at this point. We're really, really, our squad is suffering like hell.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen, we played, I don't know if you remember when we played Wickham a couple of years back under Pochettino, very, very dodgy game. We ended up winning the game 4-3 in the last minute, having to rely on some senior players, Son pulling through in the last minute. Do you see the game going a similar way to that?
Oh, God, I really hope not. But this is the thing. It's like until the... Every game of this season so far, I'd come in thinking you just don't know what's going to happen. You can't call it until Liverpool, and the belief that the hope that kills, the hope that you get when Conte comes in, and obviously we pull out something nice against Liverpool, and then it's just kind of reverts, so we can't get results against the lower teams. So I honestly don't know. It's like you think we should smash them, but it's FA Cup, things can happen. You would think he probably will have some first team players on the bench and maybe bring them on as a repercussion, but I almost don't even care about the game. It's just do you know what I mean? It's just one of these things. It's like there's so many big games this month that are really, really important. That it's kind of like just maybe it's a case of you put some first teamers on in the second half and just try get past the game. I do think it'll be like 2-0, even with the kind of like the team that we're talking about. It probably will just be like 2-0 or whatever. And that I would take that. It's just not that important a game. It's not interesting. It's not really attractive in any way. We're not
still
in a
FA Cup
where...
and we're dying for a trophy. You know what I mean? So I mean, if we do play a very much weakened side, we did that against Mura, and the side that you're talking about playing is weaker than the one that we played against Mura. So. I mean, if we do lose, it's detrimental.
The team we put out against Mora, the value of our players on the pitch was still over 150 million. Their entire team was worth 25 million.
Yeah.
If we can't win that game with 150 million squad of our apparently B team, then what are we doing here? Like we
know that we've got a lot of deadwood in this squad, and we know a lot of these players need to go, and we know a lot of these players are not of the required level. Yes, they might have been at the required level to beat a Morecambe and to beat a Mura, but they're not playing like that, are they?
Yeah, and also I think that was maybe a little bit of a different time. I think there's a little bit better of a mentality across the squad now. Like a midfield of like Winks and Lo Celso probably isn't. They probably don't feel as left out, and especially Winks. When he was getting brung in against Mora, he's probably like feeling like hell. He's like, what am I doing here? Now he probably feels like I'm actually a first team player. I need to get time in the legs. So there's probably a better vibe. And just on that alone, Conte's message, having a little bit of time to get in, I think it should be enough to get us through. I mean, even with that lineup, Dele Alli as a striker with Gil on one side of him, and someone on the other side of him. Maybe Lucas, just because you can kind of bring him off, and I don't know if Bergwijn's back.
He's not. I don't think
he's not now. But even just like Gil and Dele up front, I would think that should be pace and some sort of form of striking. So
would you play Jack Clark?
I would. Yeah, Jack Clark. I would, and Harvey White. I would, because when are we going to get to see them if we don't? Like, we kind of need to give them chances. If you can't give them a chance here, but then just have enough bit of quality behind them. Look, you got Dele next to you, you've got Winks supplying you, and you've got Lo Celso around you. That should make you feel quite comfortable as a player.
You said quality, and then you said Dele in the next word. Haven't heard that for a while.
Just because we have to believe that that he does still have quality, and maybe just in the right places in the box, maybe a game like this maybe shouldn't be too hard for him.
Got a super chat here from Joseph saying, I would play an attacking 3-5-2 with Galini, Pastozzi, Roden, Sesse, Lavinier, Devine, Winks, White, Hill, Scarlett and Son, and I would have Kane on the bench. I mean, that just seems a bit too weak for me.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of it, but yeah, it is. I think you need Winks, and I think you need Lo Celso, and I think you need a little bit more strength. But again, I just wouldn't risk Son. I need that. I need to see him with just rested. It's killing me watching him take these bad touches and have to go through big patches of the game not doing anything. It's just it makes me feel sad for him every time I see that.
And another super chat here from Jordan Stevens saying, forget the opposition. This is a very important game, in my opinion, especially now it's looking like we are out the Carabao Cup. Being out of 2 cups in a week could be detrimental.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm not saying we can't throw away the game. I'm just saying if you're looking at the squad, this is tough times, but then again, it's like it shouldn't be. We should have the quality. We absolutely should have the quality to beat them, even with the players that we're talking about. It's just that we're just in a really precarious position right now. That's what it is. This Chelsea game that just passed was, for me, the most important game of the year. Like, if you win that, this month looks like we could really do something dangerous. You lose that, we look as bad as we did with pretty much our first team, and then the reality kind of sets in. And then you're kind of like, then it's really about Conte's, what Conte said after, which is the thing that I think is upsetting to a lot of fans, and which is kind of triggering to people like me and Brian. It's the kind of all of a sudden sounding like he doesn't feel like he's going to get backed, and that this to change things at Spurs is going to take so long. It's just like, all right, well, tell Harry Kane that. Harry Kane's not staying if it's going to take that long. So
what's that long though? What's that long?
When he was saying that when he was comparing us to Chelsea, and he was saying that it's the mainstay of your club which is not strong enough. So that's a huge thing, because that's something 50 years might not change that if we keep having the owners we have. But then he was saying it's not going to. He said it's not going to be 1, it's not going to be 2, it's not going to be 1 year, it's not going to be 2, it's going to be. So when you're thinking of that, that's not next season, that's the season after. And I don't think Harry Kane stays that long.
Yeah, you're probably right there. But, whatever's being said right now in the press and whatever's going on right now, it is only 7 days into a transfer window. It is only 7 days into 1 second. Daniel Levy travels to the Bahamas for Joe Lewis meeting that could prove key to Conte's plans. Paratici opens talks over deal to sign Adama Traore from Wolves. So we have open talks with him, they're saying.
Well, the looks of it, but we've flown to the Bahamas to get the deal done.
Yeah, but like,
doesn't matter where they've flown to.
Who needs Daniel Levy? Like, here's the thing, like, what does Paratici do? What does Hitchen do? Why are these people there if everyone needs to rely on Daniel Levy? Like, the whole point of bringing Paratici in was to get Daniel Levy the fuck out of the conversation. So I don't understand the idea of this. Hands tied until we have a sit down. That meeting doesn't mean anything. We don't care. Like, it's like, come on, that is just a line. Basically, Conte knows what he needs for his team. He tells Paratici goes, makes the things, and then I guess he has to go to Levy and say, are you going to okay this? Are you not? And if Paratici, it's all about kind of...
that's why you need Daniel Levy there.
Yeah, and at the end, you don't need him there to start making the talks happen and to negotiate. And to be honest, Paratici has been negotiating for weeks and weeks now. He hasn't started now.
Yeah, but even if he's negotiating, you still need Daniel Levy to give the okay on the financial side.
That part I agree. What I don't get, sorry, bro, is why has he got to travel to the Bahamas to do it?
We live in a world. Does it matter where he travels?
Well, no, I'm saying we live in a world with modern technology now.
Yeah, but what does it matter?
That's just what I'm saying. It's like, what I'm saying is, why should he fly all the way out there when he could just have a phone call and get this done quicker, rather than wasting however long it flies to fly to Bahamas, get there, sit down, talk to him. But
that sentence said he's travelling to the Bahamas to speak to Joe Lewis about the transfers, right? And the second part of that thing is that we've already opened talks with signing a player.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
which is helpful. which
So
is
what does it
hopeful, yeah.
matter if he's going to the Bahamas anyway? If
Just,
we're open talks
like
to
I said,
signing a player?
no, that's the bit that just frustrates me. When it can all be done, he doesn't need to travel.
You're just
there.
jealous he's having a nice holiday.
Oh,
Aren't you?
well, that's that as well. Although I'm here, so I'm
Brian,
right here.
Brian.
But yeah, I'd love to go Bahamas.
To be honest, that puts a little bit more hope in me. Like, you would take that trip if you're going to ask for a lot of money. You're not going to send an email saying, "Get a lot of heat here. We might need 150 million." Like, you're going to go and have a sit down.
Maybe no. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Baines,
You're going to try rob someone like that.
I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that.
Think, like, yes, we've been stung by Levy so many times, and everyone knows everyone's feelings on Levy. Do you not think that 7 days into a transfer window, the first transfer window where Conte and Paratici have been together, do you not think us as a fan base just need to have that little bit of patience about us right now?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because basically the reality of football is fans get given little things, and what that does is it gives you hope, so you shut your mouth and you do nothing. Right now, like what happened when Lucas Moura got subbed off and he was the best player in the park, fans spoke loudly. And sure, maybe the manager was on his way out, but the manager was gone very soon after that. In the past, when fans actually really make impact, start doing things like we're not going to buy things, start doing things like that, start showing that, look, you can't keep fucking with us. That we didn't have a manager for however many weeks. All that did was inflate and rise the stock prices. Then Levy says, "Oh, we're going to get Poch back." Everyone goes nuts. Stock shares, people buy shares. The season tickets, people sell them out in minutes. Then he goes, "Sorry, just fucking you." And then everyone goes, "Oh, you're not going to get us again, you dirty bastard." And he goes, "Wait, Conte is coming in." And then everyone goes, "Oh yeah, give me a season ticket, buy stocks." And do you know what I mean? It's like we keep falling for it. So he brings Conte in now, and then it's just like, sit back. We're not spending money. We've got Conte. That's all we're going to do. And Conte goes, "Well, then what do you want from me? It doesn't matter how good your manager is. It does not matter. You could have the best manager in the world. If you don't have players that he can use and rotate, we don't need a rebuild. We do not need a rebuild right this second. We need 3 brilliant utility players. And I'm telling you this right now, they are out there. They're all over the place. There is many of them. And this whole thing of they won't leave their clubs mid-season, they absolutely will. They have parents. They have personal coaches. They have their own teams. They have their actual professional team. It's got very little to a point in what the player wants. If the agent is saying 77 million for Dusan, his club's going, "Fuck yeah, we need that money." They've just bought a striker. And then his parents and everyone else are going, "Yeah, you go," and they're all saying, "Go and play with Kane. You know, iron sharpens iron. Go play with Kane. Go be with Conte. Go and be in something like that. You're 21 years old. You can go and become a legend there." Then what? He's going to stay with his team mid-season. They're in 8th in the league. You know, it's like you put that money down, he comes. You don't put the money down, he won't come. But I still would like them to then get a pre-deal for the summer. So I'm not saying you have to get Dusan in. I'm just saying that you should be doing the business to make sure that he's definitely coming in the summer. I think you can easily do it. Grealish, Schlotterbeck, and I can see a utility for Adama. I can see a utility for Adama. People are going to slate Adama being like, "Oh, he's unproven." Have you watched him play? He murders people on the pitch. And now I was saying, don't bring him in the summer. I was saying, why bring him in to play just where Lucas plays? That's Lucas' position. Okay, but now if you bring him in as a right wing back, just for the end of this season, then next season you have options whether you can play him as an attacking player or you can play him as a wing back. But right now, can you imagine him? The problems we have, like every time the ball goes out to Emerson, he stops and goes back. We can be 4 players in attack. Emerson gets the ball, he stops and goes backwards. Do you think Adama would do that? Like, for me, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, yeah, if you can get Lamptey, if you can get a proven right wing back, get them in. But I see utility in bringing Adama in right now. So there is.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Paratici has open talks with him as per Matt Law from the Daily Telegraph, and he is fairly reliable. Yep. And what else is quite interesting? Yeah. What else is quite interesting from his article today? He's saying that Daniel Levy is flying out to the Bahamas, not just to discuss transfer targets, but also to discuss potential external investment coming into Tottenham, apparently from America. So
That's
if
interesting.
that's very interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I genuinely like that. And here's the thing about what I say about Levy. I don't think he's a bad businessman. I think he's a sound businessman. I think he's actually an astute businessman. But then what you have to understand is the business of football is not the same. It's not equated to being a fan. Being a fan, you want your team to always compete. You want Spurs to win things. Him in a business position of building a stadium and then not making any signings, that's kind of what you have to do after you build a stadium. You can't make signings for ages. You have to really frustrate people. You have to fuck over fans for a long time. And that's just unfortunately the horrifying thing about it. They make money. They make millions and millions through speculation on the stock market. That's the reality of football. So we're not, as fans, we can't always get what we want, but we can make it hard for them. And, like, what the worst thing's going to be that, February happens, we've lost all the games in January. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but think about the position you will be in the stands February 9th, singing and shouting hate stuff at Levy, and turning to Brian, and Brian's going there, hey, I wanted us to do this in January 16th. Like, why did we wait? Because now we can't do anything. Now there's no pressure on Levy. And now we have to watch.
I disagree. There is pressure on him right now. Of course, there's pressure on him right now. Of course, there's pressure on. How could you say there's no pressure on Levy right now?
I think what Brady's trying to say is, like what I said, after the January window shuts, if it escalates and we then vent, there is pressure on him, but there's nothing that can be done until the summer with the transfer window.
I get that. I get that completely. I get what Brains is saying, but
I mean, from the crowd. I mean, from the audience.
I get what you're saying, but what happened in the summer, right? What happened in the Man United game when he got all that pressure, right? Right now, Daniel Levy has nowhere to turn. He's got nowhere to turn. He knows he's a step away from a fan revolt. He knows that. We all know that as a fan base. So in my opinion, he's brought Conte in. He's brought Paratici in. So right now is not the time to go nuclear. Right now is the time to see if he's going to back up with what he's told Conte. Right now is the time to see that. We've already gone nuclear on him. We've already made him make changes in a very, very positive light in bringing in Conte and Paratici. We need to see if he's going to back up with what he said and backed up his actions of bringing in a world-class manager and a world-class sporting director as well.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is bringing in those things doesn't specifically mean that you look at Manchester United. They keep bringing in big managers, and like the sacking of Ole to bringing in Ragnick made them 380 million in the stock market. The business of football is very different from what fans say. So what I'm saying is, in the past, you're right. Spurs have shown that with pressure and with actually showing anger towards Levy, that you can actually get a little bit of movement. And I think you're right that you can see some things are happening, and you can see I think Conte's pivotal to it, him being extremely upset like after that Chelsea game, not really even about the game. He wouldn't even seem that upset about the game. He just seemed upset by the expectation of fans to think that he can make magic when you're playing against the Champions League team who are playing maybe their second string team, and they're like 10 times better than us, and we're playing our first team. It's like you can see how angry he is for people out there to be going, oh, Conte's going to do magic here. He's going to do unbelievable things. We're going to get top four. Conte's going, how? Look at the squad I've got. What are you thinking? I've got nothing. I can't rotate any players. Don't be angry at me when we lose to Champions League winners. You're mental, so that I could see that he's just purely frustrated. And then so we get then frustrated for why is our manager looking so annoyed already when the transfer market's just opened? Why is he looking so burned?
We all know the state of the squad, right? We all knew the state of the squad when Conte came in. We all knew that we need a massive rebuild. We all knew players need to come in. It's 7 days into the window.
No,
7 days.
Exactly. But Ben, like anyone, like what we went through in the summer, we were in talks with Tomiyasu for 29 days. Nothing happened. You know what I mean? It's like the Paratici principle, what I called it, when I was so hopeful because he was speaking to everyone and their neighbors, and then it turned out not random signings that kind of didn't mean anything. So
Yeah.
for me, Paratici is unproven for us. You know, like he's not done anything really for us yet. Romero he can't play. He keeps getting injured. You know, it's not his problem. But then Gill for this team, Emerson for this team, these are signings that don't mean anything. So now you're looking at this window going, I hope he's going to be working hard. I hope he's working real hard, because if Conte goes to him and says, "Look, I need Caustic," and he's like, fucking, how can you not just go get that player? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many players. Grealish is a free agent. He's one of the best midfielders on the planet, and he's a free agent. You can get him for like 10 million. Like, why is there no speculation on Grealish? It's just like, it's crazy to me. Like, there is good players everywhere. Nathan Patterson is bound to be the next Tierney, the next Andy Robertson. Everyone in Scotland's been saying it for ages. He scored an incredible goal to help Scotland get into the playoffs, and everyone was talking about it. And he was available. He was available, and he was angry about not getting in the Rangers starting lineup, and then Everton come in and get him for peanuts. How are we not in that conversation when we need a right wing back? These are the things that I get annoyed with, which I can feel Brian's anger. When there is players out there, I know people are looking at big names and they're retiring Iscos and all the old guys out there. I'm not looking at that. There's kids out there that are proving like to be amazing players who we can get for 10, 15 million, and we're not going for them. And that drives me nuts. You know, because I think some players, young players who can train 2 times a day, I think these are the players that Conte needs to get in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the facts of the matter
But
is...
I genuinely love the debate, though. I not 100%. Like, I genuinely think it's one of the most entertaining things I've seen in a while. And it would be so shit, Ben, if you just agreed with everything Brian said today. It would have been just shit. The fact that you have both put on brilliant points is, for me, like the best thing about this channel. And then I can come on and just talk a lot of shit, and it's great. It's great stuff. It's good stuff. It's really good
thanks
stuff.
Thanks a lot, Brains. But thanks for coming on, man. And we shall see you soon, my friend. Unless
I don't know if you did it with the FA Cup thing. I didn't get Brady's prediction for the score. So what did you predict?
Yeah, I said it would be 2-0 us.
Okay.
But it's a very hopeful 2-0. Yeah, but let's go and play some pool and snooker soon, dudes. Anytime you're up for it, give me a shout.
Definitely, bro.
Well, Brad, we need to go. We'll go to the pub in Cockfosters over the weekend or something. We'll try to sort something.
Yeah, the Cock. I'm up for it.
Well, let's go to the Cock. Let's do that.
Big up, Brains.
No worries, dude. Take care.
See you later, buddy. Bye.
Bye. All right. Who have we got coming on next? It's Mikey. How's it going, Mikey?
Hey,
all right?
Hey, Mikey. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. This has been the worst. The connection has been so dodgy today. I've been trying to get off so
Why?
long.
What's happened?
I don't know. My laptop kept dropping out of Wi-Fi signal for some reason, but I fixed it now.
Okay.
So I'm good. Yeah.
Go on. Talk to me about the Morecambe game. How are you expecting us to line up?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have been able to get tickets, so I'll be watching it live in the flesh. My first
fantastic.
game in 6 months. So yeah, I'll be really happy. I'm in the south stand as well, so I'm quite chuffed with that.
You in the safe standing area?
My south stand, the single.
Yeah, are you in the safe standing area in the south stand?
Nah, I got the seats. They were sold out of the safe standing.
Okay. So how high up are you in the south stand?
Quite high up, because the tickets open from December and I only bought them a couple of days ago, so I'm quite high up. Yeah.
Okay. So let's have a little chat about Morecambe then. So, what we've been talking about, if you had to play some regular teamers, some first teamers, how many would you have? So, what would you go with if you had to start a couple or a few first teamers?
I would heavily rotate, like Brain said, but I wouldn't start. I wouldn't start our big hitters, Kane and Son. I'd keep them on the bench because they're exhausted. They need a rest. Like, I know that we don't have a ready-made Kane replacement, but they're both exhausted and they need a rest. So I think if you give them the rest that they need, it'll definitely help their fitness for the Chelsea game. And then the derby coming up, you look at Morecambe and think they're nowhere near the levels that we need for the NLD and the Chelsea game. And if we want any chance of a comeback at the Spurs Stadium, we need Kane and Son on their game. So I think the Morecambe game is too big of a risk to play them in.
Okay. So if you had to start, that's exactly what I was going to ask you, Mike. If you had to start first teamers, who would they be?
But he's out with. I would start Eric Dyer, but he's out with COVID.
Yeah.
So Dyer, Cess. Is Cess available for this one?
Cess apparently is available. Romero and Dyer are not.
And Stevie B.
Oh yeah, Stevie, that's the other one. Yes, so Stevie B looks like he's not going to make this one.
Bergwijn would have been. This would have been such a good game for him to play in as well, because it's quite well publicised. Our favourite front three is Kane, Son, Mora, and if you give Bergwijn and Hill a chance to star on the wings, then it could. I saw Gill's cameo against Chelsea because I was out with family, but we were at a pub, so I managed to catch pretty much the entire game of the Chelsea game, and I watched that horror show. Oh my god, you should have seen. I was in a pub in Ilford, and I was walking around, and this when Ben Davis's goal went in, I just come back. I saw it go in, and I was this close to shrieking. I had to stop myself because I was in a pub, and I looked around. Everyone was just staring at me because I had my Tottenham badge emblazoned on my jacket, and I was just like, Jesus, what's going on? But I think for this game, there's going to be wholesale changes. Roden will get a start. Cess will get a start. Doherty will probably play at right wing back this time. A lot of people reporting that this will be his last game for Spurs because in like a few minutes ago, The Athletic came out and reported that negotiations have begun for an £18 million plus Matt Doherty move for Adama Traore. Wolves are considering the bid, but they want 25 million in cash plus Doherty, it seems. So, there's funnily enough other rumours coming out that Arsenal have finally managed to make contact with Vlahovic's agent as well. So, and Kessie's wanted by Man City. So that's two of our targets being targeted by other clubs. We need to get a move on. But just quickly before we go into transfer news about the Morecambe game, I would for me to be at the stadium, I'd love for the heavy hitters to start. But if for the overall season, there's no chance they will. So for me, it'll probably be Cess and Doherty as the fullbacks, because Doherty came off pretty early into the second half of the Chelsea game.
He didn't come on for the second half, mate. He was substituted at half time.
Oh, at half time. Sorry, yes. So he should be well enough. And obviously, Reguilon's he's nursing a slight knock, which is why he didn't play against Chelsea. But I think if he continues his rehabilitation, he should be in for the game on Wednesday, hopefully. Which is why I wouldn't start Reggie. Our midfield looks sparse, but I'd play a three-man midfield of Winks, Lo Celso, and Ndombele with Ali as our focal point, if you like. But you can only start three of those four, so I'd drop Ndombele.
Okay.
What would your score prediction? Have you done a score prediction? What would your score prediction be to go into it?
Where did you disappear to?
Where did I disappear?
It's a magic trick.
I can only see Brian. I can only see Brian's camera. That's why.
It's because someone's slacking in the back end. That's why.
there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd give if Galini's in goal, 3-1, because he never keeps a clean sheet. Well, Galini will be in goal because there's no chance.
First time for everything. Hey, Mikey.
Yep. Well, first time me going to the new stadium and actually seeing us win. Been there twice, watched us lose twice. So
there you go. Hopefully there'll be a first time for everything.
Exactly.
Actually, no. I watched the Pakosh home game. That's a lie. So this will be my fourth time at the new stadium.
Exactly.
So my dad for the first time. It'll be my dad's first time. So hopefully he enjoys it. But yeah, he's been a Spurs supporter since '74. He's been around it. So he's looking forward to going to the stadium for the first time.
So he's seen a good few trophies in his lifetime.
Yes, he never managed to. Actually, he went to White Hart Lane once, I think. I never went. I would have loved to have been at the old lane, but I only got into football in 2016, and it was knocked down the following summer, so I didn't have much of a chance. But yeah, I'm going back to the Morecambe game before we start talking transfers and the in and outs of the window. I think my score prediction will be 3-1.
3-1. Who's going to get the goals?
I've been infamously wrong about this in the past. I think maybe. I think maybe Lo Celso from a set piece if we get it in a good enough area. I think Morecambe will give away a few fouls on the edge of the area with us attacking. So I think Lo Celso might get one from a set piece, and I'm predicting. I don't know, and I'll back Brian Hill to get a goal as well. His first goal for Spurs. Has he scored yet?
No.
Yeah.
But I am excited and looking forward to seeing Lo Celso start.
Yeah.
I think this is a pivotal moment for him. All right, it's not the best, the greatest of opposition for him, but this is a game like we had with Dele Alli when he was captain against. Was it Mura? It was Mura at home that he was captain for, wasn't it? And he literally just choked on that opportunity. I think Lo Celso's really got to show himself in this game.
The thing is, though, if these players have a good performance against Morecambe, it's just going to be after the game. People are, you can't read too much into that performance. You got to back up in the Premier League. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Very true.
It's unfortunate that we don't have a game against the lesser opposition to play in, because after the Morecambe game, it goes Chelsea, Arsenal, and then Chelsea, I think, is our schedule. Or is it Chelsea, Arsenal, someone, Chelsea?
We got
Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester. The Leicester
Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea.
Okay, yeah. So out of those 4 games, you're not gonna. Therefore, so with the Leicester game in our schedule, where it just makes it even more of a packed schedule. So yeah, even less likely that first teamers will start now. With the Leicester game being rescheduled for the 19th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Danny has just sent in a super chat saying, Brian, check your WhatsApp. Some news just come out.
He said it to me. I'm just talking to him now. It's the one. It's about Lewis flying to the Bahamas. So we've discussed that, haven't we? I'm sure we'll.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and actually, on that article, the Telegraph are saying, I'm just going to elaborate a bit more. It's Tottenham have held talks with a number of individuals and companies regarding potential investment into the club, and there has also been new interest from America into putting money into Spurs. And there was also a few weeks ago, I don't even remember, but there was an Asian billionaire at Spurs sitting next to Daniel Levy in his box, and apparently he was very interested.
I didn't know about that.
Investing into Spurs as well.
I seriously didn't know about that. Listen, if we can get some investment coming, it'll be brilliant. It could be the naming rights. It could be something as simple as that, but it also could be something that we desperately need. And then if that happens, then everything could change.
And Matt Law has just said it is pretty likely now that Adama Traore will sign for Tottenham.
Okay.
One of my favourite players in the Premier League. I think his dribble numbers speak for themselves. I think only
so do his goal contributions
and assist contributions.
I think only ASM comes even close to his dribble numbers. I mean, I remember in the top 5 leagues, I think Lionel Messi had something like 7 dribbles a game, and they just had Adama Traore out on 15 a couple seasons back. So hopefully, I mean, we've seen what he can do. He scored that brilliant goal against us when Super Jan scored at the death to make it 2-1. So
yeah,
I think hopefully, you're praying that if Conte can get his hands on him. There's such a raw player in there, but obviously we've seen it not work with Ndombele. But the thing with Adama is he has that work rate that Ndombele doesn't have. He's willing to run. So if a player like Adama can come in and just give us a bit more depth, in our wing role, because we're very sparse there. Like I've said, Brian Hill and Bergwijn are good, but Bergwijn's out injured. Hill's not been tested. Adama Traore is Premier League proven in the sense that he knows how to play in the league, even if his goal contributions aren't exactly productive. But I'm hoping that he can be the middleman to then get Kane and Son back firing.
Mikey, you heard the debate that me and Brian were having before in terms of the transfer window, in terms of whether to be patient or not and that kind of stuff. I mean, which side of the fence are you sitting on?
Well, when you guys put the poll up, I think it came up and it said mine was the first vote, and I voted for Ben. It said 100% Ben. So I think you do need to have a little bit of patience, because I know Trippier has been signed, but that's Newcastle wanting to stretch their financial muscle. They have more of an incentive to prove stuff because of the amount of cash that they've brought in. The fans, they're in a relegation battle. You know, we're fighting for top 4, but we can. Levy knows that he can afford to be a little cautious in the sense that not by not making any signings, but by evaluating his options. If it's been said that he's gone to the Bahamas to you know, hopefully it's not a situation where we see him in 2 weeks' time still there having a banana milkshake. It's he's gone there to discuss business and what investment we can get into the club to be able to make transfers. If you're already looking at Adama Traore being heavily linked, that's the first of our many targets. There's news emerging this morning that we're looking at Marcelo Brozovic again, whose contract is up in the summer, and obviously, that interconnection is gonna. I mean, I know Conte and Inter didn't exactly leave on the best of terms, but players like Brozovic have played under Conte and know what he's about and did it pretty successfully. They won the Italian league. They beat a Juventus side with Cristiano Ronaldo in it. So, if Levy can get it right this time, I'm not saying the pressure's off because it will never be off with him, but I'm just hoping that there's not much. There's just inshallah and vibes at this point. Now I'm messing. It's a message to the fans that Levy hasn't just taken a phone call. He's gone to discuss in person, and I guess it takes time to fly to the Bahamas, obviously. But if he's there in person, it means there's a bit more conviction about him. It's not him lying at home going, "Yeah, Joe, so 20 million. Ah, shit, send me the check tomorrow." He's gone there personally to discuss it, and I think there's a bit more of the more personal element there is to his negotiations, the more it looks like at least he's trying to get the investment in that Conte wants, because he knows if he's not given exactly what he's promised, Conte will walk, and then where are you left? There's only so many world-class managers you can go through before you can only start attracting the likes of Nuno. So it remains to be seen. Conte is the last chance for Levy. If Conte isn't given what he's promised and Conte walks, I mean, obviously there's huge ways to go before the end of the season. Conte won't leave before the end of the season, I don't think. But no. if we're not even in, I will be happy if we put up a fight for the top 4 and it comes down to the final game and there's been 1 or 2 sketchy losses and we put everything into it and we lose it by, I don't know, a couple of points. The desire will still be shown. But if we just crash and grind to a halt and we play like we did last season, then it's going to be pointed at Levy and said, where was the investment? It's a different case if he brings in the investment and still can't get the players. Then it shows a much deeper rooted problem. But the investment, I would say we need to be a touch patient with Levy. I still think I kind of sit in between you two. I'm not as extreme as Brian in the sense that there's no patience to everything now. I mean, that's an oversimplification of Brian's view. But I agree more with Ben in the sense that a little patience. Like if we're still talking about this in 10 days' time, then yes, then I would start to lean with Brian and say, all right, now if we're over halfway through the window and there's been one signing, 1 in, 1 out, then there needs to be serious questions asked.
Yep. Like I said, I mean, I go with that. Like I said, it's still 7 days, and like I said, there's nothing planned or nothing. But the longer it goes on, then obviously it puts more petrol on the fire. And like Mikey just basically said, if it gets to 10 days later, and we're still here, then people's opinions may be slightly different. But like I said, I apologise for what I said about the regards to flying to the Bahamas, because I thought that was like what a waste of. But when Mikey said like did the personal touch, and like you said, I get that, and I understand that. So that just goes to show I will always admit it when I feel that I've said something wrong or got the wrong end of the stick. So with that, I did. And you look at it that way, maybe this is a lot more beneficial, close face to face, and maybe it is more professional. Maybe it is more he's talking to investors, saying he needs to be there to do all the presentations and whatever it is he does. So we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. We do have to wait and see. But Mikey, thanks a lot for coming on today. Always a great call, and we'll speak to you very soon, my friend.
You're welcome. In a bit, guys.
Enjoy the game, Mikey, and have a great weekend.
I will. You too. I'll probably be on for the post-match fan show if I manage to get out of Tottenham High Road in a one piece, but we'll see.
I'm sure you will, mate. I'm sure you will. See you soon.
Bye, guys.
See you later, buddy.
Who is up next? All right, next caller is George. This is the last caller. Last caller of the stream, and that is George. George, how are we today?
Not too bad. How are you guys?
Yeah,
All good.
doing good,
All good.
doing good. Let's talk about the Morecambe game first. I mean, asking everyone, I mean, how many changes are you expecting to be made for the game this weekend?
Well, I'm expecting quite a few. Whether we can do that or not is another matter. But I don't think you can play what we would consider to be our first teamers with the way things are panning out. We've got huge games. We've got Arsenal, which I think is going to be absolutely massive. And if we haven't made any signings by that point in time, and if we end up losing that, I think it's going to get toxic. Chelsea twice and Leicester. So I don't think we can afford really to put first teamers in there, which means we're running the gauntlet.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, do you not start any of the first teamers? No, Kane, Son, Lucas, Højbjerg, Skip, Sanchez. I mean, do you not start any of these players?
I think you play Skip. I think you've got to try and make it as solid as possible. At the end of the day, Morecambe are coming for their cup final. They're playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, one of the best, if not the best, stadium in the country. For them, it's going to be an unbelievable experience, and they're going to come out to play, and they're going to come out to beat us. Yeah. So that we've got to make sure that we're tight. Bringing in players like Dane Scarlett, I'm sure, under ordinary circumstances, would be the perfect scenario. But it's going to be really tricky. I mean, Antonio's going to have to really, he's going to really have to be quite on the ball on this one, if you pardon the pun. He's going to have to judge it. And it's going to have to be perfect, because otherwise, if we go out again, it's just going to be a calamity.
And, we've seen in the past resting a lot of players for the likes of Miura in the Conference League all season away from home. I know it's a bit different at home, but do you trust the kind of fringe players to go out there and win the game this weekend?
Well, what are they there for then? I mean, if they do, I trust them. It's a case of, I think we have to now. Conte is going to have to try and get them understanding that they are playing for their positions and their future. I know we've said it, albeit we are coming off a disastrous sort of performance against Chelsea. I think players like Dele Alli need to be brought into the squad now. Do we risk Kane? I think maybe not. But yeah, I think you've got to put him on the bench in case things aren't going right, and then he's got to come on. Yeah. So I wish I could say I'm confident, but it's Tottenham, and after that performance on sort of this week, I'm not particularly happy with the way the land lies. So it's going to be a tricky one, and Conte's going to have to judge it really quite perfectly.
So, Joe, I've been asking this question as well. When we're talking about Dane Scarlett, if he does go with Scarlett, would you prefer to see him up by himself or with a Kane or a Son to begin with, or to join him at the end, so he gets at least some minutes with an established partner that will be able to help him through the game?
Yeah, I think he's okay. So I would play somebody behind him. So if it's him on his own, but he's going to need to be interchanging, and up there on his own, I think he looks. When I've seen him, other teams have sort of crowded him out slightly. There's also, we've never had anybody playing off him as well in order to drag defenders around and give him the space in order to perform. but he is still very, very young. And that's the problem about playing him. And then you get a bad performance, and then all of a sudden his confidence has dropped. I think putting him is sort of up there with with two of them. I think he needs that room to work, to do the running, and have somebody like Sonny behind him really to try and feed those balls in. But again, we're just really struggling creatively. So again, I don't know. I'm slightly. I don't want to sound negative, but I'm just slightly concerned by playing Dane Scarlett in there, having seen what I've seen previously. But I can't see any other alternative at this stage.
What's your score prediction going into it?
Do you know what? I mean, I've never spoken to Bob before, but I'm obviously conscious of the scenario, so I'm gonna go with 4-1.
That's what we love to hear. That's what we love to hear. George.
Do you know what? I actually forgot to say there's a little update. Not a major. You know already. I forgot to say. So yeah, there's nothing. There's no real news to tell. The only news is he was on 60% oxygen when they put him on his back, and then it creeped up to 65, and now it's at 70. So they're saying he's stable. He's still on his back. But they're slowly creeping up, but they're not shooting up like they were before, where they had to put him on his stomach and everything. So the only news we have at the moment is obviously his oxygen level has slightly increased on his back. But apart from that, the hospital is saying he is stable, and he's staying in the stable zone. I don't know what the zone is and where it goes to the next zone, but that's the latest on Bob.
No, touch wood, he's on the road to recovery.
I'll join you with that, mate. I'll join you.
Please, we need him back. But let's move on, George, and let's talk about the transfer window. I'm sure you heard everything that's going on the channel this morning in terms of me saying I think we need to have patience. What kind of side of the fence are you sitting on?
I'm a little bit older than you, Ben, so unfortunately I think my patience has run out. I'm very much with Brian on this one. I think he's got to continue being as vociferous and outspoken as he is, and I don't think that really we can give this board and this chairman any respite whatsoever. It's like I said. I mean, I've mentioned it before on the other couple of times that I've been on. I just consider them to be incompetent, really. So I'm not really willing to take any more. One trophy in 20 years is for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is not good enough, and I need to see a lot more activity. And I'm not by any means saying that I'm judging them at this point on the transfer window, because you're right, 7 days is not long enough, and it as I said before yesterday when I mentioned the formula, it is very important that you strike a formula. So Conte walks in. He has an idea of what he's got, but until he sits down with those players and realizes whether they're singing off the same hymn sheet or not, it's very difficult for him to make an assessment of what he's got to work with going forward. So it really is who's going to get along with me is not going to get along with you guys, and is not going to get along with Mourinho, and is not, somebody's going to get along with Conte, but not with Poch. So it's a case of striking a formula. And at this stage, I think with Conte's last interview, asking for patience, he didn't come across to me as somebody who I felt he didn't give me the impression of someone who was considering whether he had been sold down the river. I think he was very much saying, look, you're going to have patience with me, because I'm going to have to bring the people who I want in, or the players that I want in. And again, it's a tricky situation because of our European quota. So it's not a case of him going out and getting whoever he wants without the consideration of players, homegrown players that we need and require as well.
Yeah.
So I get it. I do get the whole patience aspect of it. But that doesn't mean we don't continuously remind them of the calamities and disasters of the past, and that we're living one at the moment as well.
You know what it is, George, as well, and I just want to elaborate on that. It's something I completely forgot in this argument. So people know when my Levy out moment began, which is obviously Martin Jol, and everyone has a different. But I keep forgetting, like George just said, there's so many Spurs fans that are of a different age set that have seen, like, there's certain people that only Man United fans that only knew Ferguson. There are only Man U fans that knew the Arsenal fans that knew the Arsene Wenger way. And there's people of generations like my parents and unfortunately my grandparents when they were here that are used to seeing such things, whereas now it's I think that is a key factor in this whole discussion as well. Obviously there's a lot of people and a lot of fans that have only really supported through the Levy years that could only see the progress from where we were to where we are, and in that I can see where people come from. But I think that's a part of this discussion we didn't really hit on, but George has hit right on the head, where obviously people of an older age have seen a lot more and used to a tradition a lot more, and I think that's a part that I vitally missed out in that debate.
I think it's important for fans, no matter what age, to know the history of your club anyway. You have to know the history, and you have to know the journey your club has got to the certain point. And look, it's no secret to anyone Daniel Levy's failings over the last 20 years. It's no secret. Everyone knows it. But all I'm saying is, following on Conte's words, only being 7 days into his first transfer window, I think patience is just an obvious thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I'm not denying that, but I think there needs to be the reminders given, and there needs to be the reminders given to the board. And let's face it, there's someone here from Tottenham at the moment who's watching the channel. If there isn't, then they're more stupid than I anticipated.
No, they do. I know they keep a close eye on things.
Exactly. So they're watching you now. They're looking at what people are saying. They're listening. They know that the dissatisfaction, and it needs to consistently be said. I mean, if we're going to come onto the channel and just say, yeah, well, we're going to be patient again, and not really talk up and rake up the past. And Brian's right. I mean, very, very quickly into the tenure of ENIC, you know, we had a semi-final that most people will remember. You both will probably remember, against Arsenal. We went up to Old Trafford. The week before that, they decided to sack George Graham before the semi-final, which I just couldn't get my head around. However,
we sacked him a game too early, didn't we?
Well, yeah. I mean, I actually predicted the sacking of Mourinho a couple of weeks. It was my son's birthday, and I was sitting with my brother-in-law having a football chat. He's a gooner, and I said to him, "Look, it's not going to surprise me one iota if we sack Mourinho prior to the cup final." And it happened, and he couldn't believe it. He actually called up after the news and said, "I can't believe that you predicted that." To me, it was an obvious ENIC move, and it's through the 20 years of them dealing with things. Martin Jol one is another one that springs to mind. The horrible way that happened. I mean, just horrible. To a very, very gracious man. You know, was it We Are Tottenham TV that broadcast his. He did in Amsterdam before the semi-final.
No, we didn't broadcast that, but we had him on for an interview probably about half a year ago now, and he was speaking quite emotionally about that time.
Yeah,
and he still speaks very fondly of Tottenham, and I think it speaks volumes that he was speaking to Tottenham supporters prior to.
He loves the club still. He absolutely loves the club.
Yeah, and I felt very disassociated with the club after that move, and there was actually a visit to Tottenham that was organised by my governing body, and it was after we had won what was then the Carling Cup.
Yeah.
And they were sort of doing this big thing on one of the monitors about how we'd won the cup, and how we'd beaten Arsenal on the way, and that's the whole thing. And I actually put my hand up and I asked the question. I said, "That's great, but what's to stop in the future the embarrassing way in which Martin Joel's situation was handled?" And of course, they brushed the whole question under the carpet. But then again, we revisit the way that the Poch situation was dealt with, and how he was sacked.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of baggage there with ENIC and with Levy.
No one's denying that. No one's denying that.
Yeah. So for me, yeah, I'm being patient because I don't have none of us have a choice. But the fact that we're spending thousands of pounds on season tickets each year, and tickets to go and watch Spurs Morecambe and everything else that comes with it. I think that we need to remind them. And Brian, continue with what you're doing. I commend
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed, sir.
George, what's the minimum that you want in this January, realistically?
What I want realistically, I think we need to be at least looking at bringing in a couple of players immediately.
2 minimum, you think?
Yeah, two at the very minimum, because I think, and they need to be 2 prolific players. I just heard that it's likely we're going to sign Adama. But again, I think it looks like he as a player is going to be another project to create into a wing back. I don't know about that one, but certainly I think we certainly need a creative midfielder, and I feel much like everybody else about the lack of the lack of interest or seeming interest by Spurs in Coutinho. I think he would have been perfect as a temporary sort of solution.
Yep.
Yeah. Whether it's just, as I said, the formula just didn't quite work with him, or whether it was just we were turned off by his salary demands. I don't know, but to me, he seemed to be the perfect player for me to fit in there.
George, I think with the Coutinho deal, as much as I wanted it, I think as soon as Villa came in with the Steven Gerrard connection, I think that may have been the deciding factor in this. Obviously, the wages, we don't know what's being paid, or if Barcelona are contributing towards the wages like Real Madrid did with Gareth Bale. But I think the Gerrard-Coutinho reunion really played a big factor in Coutinho's decision.
I think if that is the case, then that probably would make me feel a little bit better, because I don't think that's really for a player. I don't think that's an adequate reason really to go to a club. I think most players, I think, would look first at what their career progress is going to be like, and then after that, what the money's going to be like. So I think if he's going because Stevie G has said to him, "Look, come over and we'll enjoy ourselves a bit," at Villa, I hope that's not the reason for his sake that he's doing it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, all right, George, we'll have to see. I mean, in my opinion, I've always thought Coutinho is a bit overrated. I've always thought he's not as consistent as he should be. I mean, obviously he had some great years at Liverpool, but I never thought they were as consistent as people made out. And since leaving Liverpool, his career just hasn't gone the way he would have planned. I think he hasn't played that much minutes over the past. Well, since leaving Liverpool, he's only had one full season where he's played 34 games in a season. Only once. Every other time he's hit 18 games, 12 games, 20 games. You know what I mean? His lack of game time alarms me since leaving Liverpool. His consistency while he was at Liverpool, I was never really one that, you can obviously see there's a lot of talent in there. He's obviously a very, very good player, but his consistency always alarmed me. And I never thought I never really wanted him, to be honest, from the start of the window, even last summer as well, when we were linked with him. I never really wanted him. I'm just not convinced about him, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I've not looked at the stats, and I've not seen him play for a long time. I was at the had the misfortune of watching him play when he played for Bayern. Was he playing that night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was, obviously we weren't obviously at our best that evening, but he just seemed to play out of his skin when he was during that game. And every time I've seen him play, he's just been very incisive with his play. He seems just to make things tick. As I said, I've not seen him play for a long time, so I just hope they've got something else up their sleeves, or they're talking to somebody else, and they're just keeping it quiet. It's what I always dream about. Ever since we signed Van der Vaart, that there's something sort of sneaky going on in the background, and they're just going to pull the rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah. Well, look, we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. But the news is, as it stands, that apparently we are in advanced talks with Adama Traore. So hopefully we can get that one over the line, and we'll see. We'll see what else happens during the window. But I think it's positive signs. What's your opinions before we let you go on, Levy, going to the Bahamas, in terms of talking about more investment coming into the club?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know in what form it's going to take. I mean, investment can mean loads of things. I would think that there's a possibility here that it is naming rights.
Yeah.
I don't think they would be selling part of the club by way of investment. So I think that's probably what's going on. Do we know any other details at the moment other than he's flying over there? So obviously
no.
Joe Lewis is in the Bahamas, but we don't know who's meeting them there.
No, we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that it's got something to do with the naming rights of the stadium. But we need, it's always somebody else who's footing the bill at Tottenham. It's never Enoch or Levy. So I think we just got to be thankful that somebody else is taking an interest. And hope that it's going to bring in a substantial amount in order to get the players that we need.
All right. George, always a pleasure to speak to you. Some great insights, some great opinions, and we'll see you very soon.
See you later on, George.
Come on, you Spurs. That was George. Always a great call, George.
He's fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. He speaks so well. He's very, very knowledgeable. It's just, honestly, he's a great guest to have on.
Yeah. There's been some updates by Fabrizio Romano regarding Spurs in the last few minutes. I think he's been on Last Word on Spurs. But he's saying centre-back is the main priority this transfer window, and then see what happens with other positions to see how those opportunities will arise. And then he also says Paratici has been exploring the potential swap deals for players such as Ndombele and Dele Alli. So it does seem like things are happening in the background.
Since we had this debate, look what it's done if they are watching now. Listen, it looks like things are happening now. So, like I said at the beginning of this, it's all because we all want a successful Spurs. People just have different views of how to get there. Everyone at the end of the day all wants the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All wants the same thing. And then that's it. Just it depends what way you think is the right way. And everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and we go from there. Let's just hope now that things actually do start moving.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. But I think that is the end of the stream today. A Tottenham update will be coming your way today. Predicted lineup and a match preview will be released tomorrow. So thank you everyone for joining today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.